Welcome back to another UCL Fantasy deadline stream for Matchday 4. Just when you think UCL Fantasy can't get more complicated, we've got two of the most popular captaincy options and popular choices in the game, Bellingham and Haaland, being huge doubts for today and tomorrow's matches. So there's a lot to discuss. It's not even just that. You look at my team, it might seem fine because only two players are flagged. Joao Felix is a doubt to start against Shakhtar Donetsk. Joao Cancelo's another one. Joshua Kimmich as well, although Thomas Tuchel came out today and said that he should start and that he is in his plans despite the suspension in the Bundesliga. Then you've got Marcus Thuram. Inter Milan are set to make 5 changes. Dumfries suffered some discomfort. I think he had fatigue in training. So you've got all of a sudden maybe 5-6 players. Fran Garcia is unlikely to start. So there's a lot of holes to pick out in my squad. And that's why I have activated the wildcard. Channel members and patrons can see it already. And later on in this stream, I'll show you what I've wildcarded to. And it's still not fully locked in. There's a few things I want to change there. It could even be certain players. Because at the moment, I do have Jude Bellingham in my wildcard squad. But I'm considering selling him to a Saka, a Musiala, etc. There's a few players here and there that I could sell Bellingham to, but there's a lot to discuss, of course. Let's get straight into your questions and comments. We're going to get a lot of repeat questions, of course, and I understand that, but just for the sake of, the entertainment and to get through as many questions and people as possible, some questions might not be answered if they've been answered already, basically. I don't want to just keep repeating myself, otherwise it could be a bit frustrating to watch. We've already got over 200 people watching, by the way, so let's try to get this stream to over 100 likes as soon as possible. That'd be massively appreciated, and our aim is to get to 22,000 subscribers. It might be a tall order to get to it today, but by the end of the group stages, why not? Why can we not do that? And we're just a few hundred subscribers away from that milestone, so thank you very much to those that have subscribed already, and I'll give a shout out to all the channel members and patrons very soon. But first of all, let's get into your questions and comments. But like I said, no repeat questions. Of course, there might be the odd exception, but that will, obviously, I'll talk about that when it comes. Cylindra says, hey Dylan, think I'll be playing my Limitless, got Bellingham, Haaland and Galeno, risk of starting and don't want to sell them. So just want to play Limitless and take some punts. Yeah, if I had all chips available, I would probably use the Limitless. I think it's perfect because you're able to get rid of Bellingham and Haaland this week, and you can always have them back without making a transfer in Matchday 5. So I can see why you're doing that. What changes would you make to your Limitless video? Let me just get up my team quickly for the Limitless. I've got it myself here on the laptop. So let me just get out the Limitless team that I talked about. So yeah, I think the big change was Sommer to Kepa. So I had Edison, Kepa, Di Lorenzo, Joao Cancelo, Raul, Molina, Dumfries. So Dumfries is someone I would sell based on the information we're getting. He might start, but it's very unlikely he's going to play the full 90, and he was suffering some discomfort in training. You've also got Haaland and Bellingham. You could sell those two as well. So two players I would consider to sell Haaland to would be Morata and Alvarez. I think they'll be right up there. So the front three could be something like Kane, Vinicius Jr., and maybe Morata or Alvarez, depending on your preference. In the midfield, I'd probably look at selling Bellingham to Musiala and tripling up on Bayern Munich attack. That's a possibility. Apart from that, Joao Cancelo's another one. I would consider Rico Lewis or Ruben Dias from Man City. So there's a few changes I'd make here and there. Another defender, I'd probably mention Trippier, still a good option. I like Saliba too. Other defenders, yeah, I think I've already listed quite a few there, to be fair, but just to maybe name another one, it's a tricky one, but I'd also consider Koundé to replace Joao Cancelo like for like. So there's quite a few players you can go to there. Let me know what you think. Dino says Musiala instead of Odegaard. Yes, we've got news on Odegaard and other key players. Odegaard was not spotted in training. He missed the big clash at the weekend against Newcastle, and Odegaard is injured. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of -4 hits in this game, but I would do it. Zubamendi, good option? Not really. And by the way, another player that is injured, it looks like, is Barrenechea. But the best Real Sociedad midfielder is Brais Mendes by some distance. I think Zubamendi is more there for the ball recoveries. Welcome, Ankel. I'm going to obviously try to go for as many questions as possible. Zodiac, welcome. I'm doing well. What about you? Good point. Nevertheless, Odegaard, risk of not starting. Yeah. I don't think he will. He's not in training. It's looking very unlikely. Bilal says, hello, Dylan. With 4 players injured and Dumfries a doubt, is it better to use Limitless or the wildcard chip? Well, a lot of these injuries and doubts are mainly for Matchday 4. So my preference will be the Limitless, but of course it does depend on your situation. But I think for most people, the Limitless is better. And also Matchday 5, you can wildcard in more players that have something to play for in the remaining 2 match days. So then in Matchday 6, rotation doesn't affect you as much. So ideally, I would use the wildcard in Matchday 5 actually. But I've actually activated myself now because I've got too many problems like yourself. Best midfield for Limitless, check out my Limitless team video, but off the top of my head, I'd say Saka, Kvaratskhelia, Bellingham if he's available. That's the big if though. I'd also look at, I'd say Leroy Sané, Musiala. Those would be probably the 5 best in isolation. Let's see what else we have, by the way. So yeah, it's going to be a very busy chat, so I appreciate your patience. News about Bellingham. We've got a lot of updates about him in the last day or so. So Carlo Ancelotti talked about him the other day. He said that he's got a shoulder problem and that they're going to assess him tomorrow, which was on the Monday. And then afterwards, there was news breaking out from some really reliable journalists from Spain saying that Bellingham won't start against Braga, but will be available and he will start against Valencia at the weekend. And then now we're getting news of him training, but he wasn't able to complete the session because of discomfort that he felt. He was suffering some pain with his shoulder, and apparently dislocated it. So, yeah, a lot of Real Madrid fans, if you actually check the social media platforms, they all want him benched, but they have this perception of Carlo Ancelotti of just playing the best players week in, week out, and a lot of them fear that Bellingham will start, and that could lead to a serious injury. Best replacement for Bellingham, I think Musiala, as a like-for-like, is really good. I like Foden this week and Doku. The problem with City is you just don't know who's going to start. Any Haaland news? Just Pep Guardiola being cryptic as ever, so not really too much on that front. I'll discuss this very soon. Ian, welcome. Good to see you. Let's go. Birthday stream. Enjoy it. Happy birthday, Jack. I've actually got a mate who's got a birthday. I'm going to celebrate with him after, and some other mates watching the football, so hopefully you enjoy it too. Francisco says, hello. Welcome. Somebody knows something about Haaland? We'll talk about it. Zaid, welcome. What else do we have? I think it's from Norway, says Zaid. Well, are you on about Haaland or Odegaard? Definitely not me, by the way. Is Zambo Anguissa a good option? He was a good option in UCL Fantasy last season, but I don't think so this time round. I wouldn't go there. Yet Galeno's injured as well. There's a lot of injury problems and doubts. Dumfries, Cancelo could be benched. You've got Bellingham and Haaland being major doubts too. What do you do with Jude? I've currently got him in my wildcard team, but I'm very inclined to sell him. That is not locked in. Yep, Galeno is injured. Jude, yeah, so Jude Bellingham, it looks like he's suffering pain, but he is in the squad. That is confirmed by Real Madrid. What about Odegaard? No, he didn't train today. So there's obviously going to be a lot of different questions, a lot of repeat ones as well. And I'll try to cover everything in a very short while after I get through some more questions and comments. Hey Dylan, I have 3 transfers. I'm thinking of taking out Haaland for either Morata or Griezmann. Okay, then we actually got big news on Griezmann here. I think it's according to Marca, who are very reliable in Spain in terms of team news. They are saying that Griezmann could be playing in midfield to cope with the poor suspension, and that means the likes of Correa and Morata could start up front. So those are probably the ones you want to go for. I'd rather go for Morata, actually. As for Santiago and Jude for either Saka or Mendes, and do you think I should take out Lautaro too? I saw one predicted lineup and Lautaro wasn't in it. It was actually Thuram and Alexis Sanchez as the front two. So I'm actually not a big fan of Lautaro either. He hasn't had a great season Champions League-wise. He's been doing really well in Serie A though. But yeah, I would consider Lautaro out to Morata or maybe Santiago Jimenez. He's another one, as you mentioned. As for Saka in for Jude Bellingham, I do like that. I really do. My issue with Saka, though, is that Arsenal have a lot of injuries. Gabriel Jesus, Partey, Odegaard, Nketiah is also not spotted in training, and that will be down to a late fitness test. I'm going to cover all of this very soon, but Arsenal are almost down to the bare bones. It could be Saka, Martinelli, Trossard attack. That's still quite good. If not, it could be Havertz up top, but Arsenal are missing a lot of key players, and it could be a struggle to beat Sevilla. Thank you for the super chat there to the Varga Ray, hopefully I've pronounced it right. Goalkeeper Blazwich, Sommer. Defenders Dumfries, Di Lorenzo, Rica, Lewis, Cancelo, Raum. Midfield Xavi Simons, Thuram, Jude Bellingham, Sane, Brais Mendes. Kane, Haaland, Morata, forward line. Anything you might suggest to change? Well, if it wasn't for the injury problems, your team would be almost perfect this week, if I'm being honest with you. However, Haaland, I think, it's just my opinion, I think he'll be benched today. He'll be in the squad, but he won't start. And a lot of predicted lineups also say the same thing. Apart from that, Kane and Morata are really good. Keep them. But I would consider selling Haaland to Vinicius Jr. or maybe going towards Santiago Jimenez as another example. Even Alvarez as a like for like. In your midfield, I would also consider selling Thuram or Jude Bellingham. I think Bellingham is just a bigger doubt to start because of his injury, but a lot of, even UEFA's website, I think, UEFA.com, they do have Bellingham in the predicted lineup. But then again, I don't think it's entirely accurate, as I actually expect Nacho to start as well, and he's not in the predicted lineup either. In terms of your defence, Cancelo's a doubt to start, so and Dumfries. So I know it seems like I'm picking a lot of holes in your team. They're good picks. You're just very unfortunate with what's happening in Matchday 4. But the ones to really flag there, Ray, are Dumfries, Cancelo, Jude Bellingham, Thuram, and Erling Haaland. So those are about 5 changes you'd make. Which ones would I prioritize? Probably Haaland. I'd also consider one of the defenders, Dumfries or Cancelo, and then Jude Bellingham potentially out just in case, because I think Thuram might start. I just don't fully trust him to. So those are the players I'd take out. And also you have free transfers, right? So if you've got free transfers, then you could even possibly make 4 transfers and take a -4 hit. That could be the play. Yet Dumfries suffered fatigue in training, so he is a major doubt for this match day as well. I think Haaland's more risky. If I look at it, I think Bellingham is more likely to start, even though his injury might seem more serious. It sounds a bit contradictory there, I understand that, but with Erling Haaland, he suffered an ankle problem. It didn't seem too serious, but I think he'll be rested for the weekend. They're also at home to Young Boys, whilst Real Madrid are at home to Braga. And I also think Madrid's squad depth is nowhere near as good as Man City. So ultimately, there's a few different reasons why. Also, the way Ancelotti is, he rotates way less than Pep Guardiola does. So I actually expect Haaland to be benched. And if there was one player to start from those two, it would be Bellingham. Who do you think is the best captain for today? Great question. I would look towards Morata or Alvarez. My current captain is Alvarez, but I might change that. Hanko, defender from Feyenoord, yeah, he's fine. You know, I've seen his points this season. A lot of ball recoveries, which really helps. The fixtures aren't particularly great, though. Even Lazio away, I would expect Feyenoord to concede. Then matchday 5, facing Atletico Madrid, I think they'll concede there too. But he can still get 4 or 5 points, so he's not bad. Limitless, good option. Yep, I think so. Definitely. This season's a bit weird. Matchday 2 is normally fantastic for the Limitless. It wasn't this season. I would still use it. If I had it, it'd be either Matchday 4 or 5. And based off my own team situation, I would heavily consider using it now. I have Jude, Odegaard and Burn in my team. To be fair, -4 hit isn't too bad. Also, just think about your other players' sports. So do you have Cancelo, Dumfries, who are doubts to start, even Joao Felix? If you've got 3 or 4 other doubts, I just play the Limitless. If you don't, and you're happy with the rest of your team, I think a -4 hit is fine. I'm personally going to wait for the Barcelona lineup. Yeah, that's true. That is completely true. That's actually a really good point. For anyone who has Cancelo or any Barcelona assets, don't sell or buy any of them until we get the lineups for Barcelona in, around an hour's time. So yeah, kickoff is at 5:45 p.m. UK time, so just under 2 hours from now. And in an hour's time, maybe a bit less, we will get the lineup. So don't make any transfers involving Barcelona players. Just wait and see what the lineups are and then finalize your moves. Do you think Haaland will play? I think he'll be benched. That's my personal opinion. I've been wrong about Pep and his teams many times, so take my opinion with a pinch of salt. Good to bet on Gordon. I like him in FPL. In UCL Fantasy, he's still decent, but considering the fixtures, the group of death, and the alternatives elsewhere, I'd actually rather go for Zaire Emery, actually, even though they're in the same group. But I'm actually more inclined to go for him. You've also got, for around 6 million, Stengs. You've got, it would have been Galeno, but he's injured now. I'd also consider Bryce Mendes. So there's a lot of options between 5 and 6 million all of a sudden. So I'm not sure if Gordon is really up there. Yeah, Taremi's not a bad shout. I actually like him against Antwerp. But would I captain him? I wouldn't personally, but he's not a bad shout. I have to say that. He's had some really big hauls in the World Cup, as we saw last year, and also in the Champions League last season. Oh, thank you very much for pointing that out about the chat overlay. Thank you very much. That's, yeah, I appreciate that. I just corrected that. So huge shout out goes to Invertised and anyone else who pointed out. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. I actually didn't notice because all I have in front of me is the chat. So much appreciated, mate. Otherwise, that would have been a bit awkward for viewing. Will Bellingham start? I'm 50-50 on it, to be quite honest with you. I actually have a feeling he might start, but I'm more like 51-49 on it, pretty much. It's really close. I wish we could get more updates before the deadline. I'm not sure we'll get that, though. What if I use the Limitless chip? Yeah, like I said, it's a good time to use it because it's not just the 2 injured players. Joao Cancelo could be benched, Dumfries, Joao Felix, Thuram. There's a lot of players that could be benched in matchday 4. I have 4 doubts on my team. Yeah, then in my opinion, the Limitless is fine. I'm also in a similar boat. Best defender around 4.7 million. I'd say Ram this week for sure. Another one to maybe give you a different choice there. Rico Lewis. I really like Rico Lewis. I think he'll start. So I definitely recommend him. We've almost got 500 people watching, by the way. It's insane. That's why the live chat is impossible to catch up with. So be sure to like the video if you haven't already, especially if we've answered your question. Doku, Foden, or another for Bellingham. My preference would be Doku. Now, you would expect Foden to be more nailed on this week compared to Doku. But if you actually look at the minutes for the Man City players in the Champions League, Alvarez didn't start the last 2 games. Foden didn't start against Young Boys. Doku hasn't started. Well, he started the last game, but didn't start the first 2 match days. It's a difficult one, but I'd probably go for Doku. Thoughts on Diaz captain? Look, I don't mind captaining defenders in UCL Fantasy, especially as a first day option, but Ruben Diaz isn't the most attacking player. What I like about him is the ball recoveries and a clean sheet as possible, so you could be looking at 8-9 points. That's solid, but I always prefer going for these attackers with a high ceiling that can get 10 plus points. So it's not a bad shout. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad one. It's a good idea, but I'm not a big fan of captaining a defender with limited attacking threat. If he ends up scoring, by the way, I apologize in advance. Jimenez or Morata? I've currently gone for Morata, but I do like Jimenez too. I think Atletico Madrid are stronger. And I also think Celtic at home is easier than Lazio away. And I also back Atletico a little bit in matchday 5 in that fixture. So I'd probably go for Morata. You also look at Morata's form, it's insane. I know Jimenez has had a great season too, but he's actually been pretty poor in his last 2 starts for Feyenoord. I think 2 games ago, despite Feyenoord winning, Santiago Jimenez had an XG of around 2 and he missed 2 big chances. Good defender for 4.3 million. David Carmo's fine against Antwerp. I think he's relatively good. There's always a few others. Pedraza's not the worst option for Sevilla, but yeah, no, I mainly look at Daniel Carmo from Porto. Lewandowski or Alvarez. Jimenez or Morata, we've covered. If I have both chips left, when would Wildcard best be used? It's team dependent, so I'm only going to answer it from my perspective and how a lot of teams are structured. If I had both, I think the best time to use the Limitless now would be 4 and the wildcard in matchday 5. The reason why I say that is because you've got a lot of problems now in matchday 4, which are short term. These players could be back for matchday 5. And also, wildcarding in matchday 5 gives you the added benefit of knowing which teams are on the verge of qualifying or that have already secured it by matchday 5, so you can really target players from teams that still have something to play for by matchday 6. Thus, you also bypass a lot of the rotation in the final matchday of the group stages. So that's what I'd probably do. Dylan, will Morata start? Yes. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't. Atletico Madrid aren't in a safe position per se in their Champions League group, so yeah, it would shock me if he didn't start. Guru, you have asked that question multiple times. I have answered it. Try not to spam the chat, please. Would you prefer Alvarez over Haaland on a wildcard? Yes, because I expect Alvarez to start and Haaland to be benched. I've heard Bellingham's okay. Let me know where you got it from, because I've seen about 4 or 5 updates and a lot of them don't seem great. He has trained, but he didn't complete the training session and he suffered discomfort. Now, I personally think Ancelotti will risk it, but I'm 50-50 on that decision. Trossard for Bellingham, that's not a bad shout. If Trossard plays false 9, you could see a big return like you saw against PSV. Captain Alvarez, Doku or Joao Felix? Alvarez for me. I wouldn't mind Doku, but I certainly wouldn't captain Felix this week. Doku or Musiala? I think Musiala, just because you know he's going to start. With Doku, you have some doubts. And I also think Musiala is more consistent. Best front 3 for Limitless: Vinicius Jr., Alvarez, and Harry Kane. Alvarez, Saka y Raúl por un -4 está bien. Creo que sí, pero también depende de quién vas a vender. Me imagino que va a ser Haaland y Bellingham, pero igual. Musiala or Doku for today? Musiala if funds are no issue. Opinions on Zaha? Not a bad shout, but the thing is with Bayern, I would expect them to win, and quite comprehensively. And if Galatasaray score, it's probably 1 maximum. I know Galatasaray are decent and Bayern Munich aren't good defensively, but I'm not a big fan this week. I'd actually rather have Zaha for match days 5 and 6. Thank you, Juan. I actually know a lot of people from Ecuador, so I appreciate that. It's great to see people from all over the world. Ecuador, Nicaragua, El Salvador. You know, I could just keep on going, you know, even Nepal. There's so many different countries, people that watch from different, you know, areas of the globe. It's always a pleasure. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you've got any questions in Spanish as well, I'll try to answer, even though my Spanish isn't the best compared to my English. According to Sport, Felix might get rested. Exactly. That's why I've wildcarded. There's Felix who's a doubt. Dumfries has suffered problems in training. Bellingham, Haaland, not to mention Joao Cancelo could be benched. Hey, do I keep Haaland and Jude? If I were to keep one, it'd be Bellingham, and I'd sell Haaland. A lot of people will consider selling both, and I might do that in the end as well. No Limitless and Wildcard, problems like Haaland, Bellingham, Galeno, Cancelo, Dumfries, and maybe other benching headaches. Should I just focus on Haaland, Bellingham, and Galeno? Yeah, I think a -4 is good. I wouldn't go overboard because remember, it's 13 match days, and also you get unlimited transfers in match day 7. So a lot of these moves you're making are for 3 match days only, which is still a lot. But is it worth a -12 or above? Definitely not. So I think the maximum I would take is a -8 hit. It's a difficult situation. And by the way, in match day 6, you think rotation now is bad. Just wait until match day 6. Welcome, Sports. Thank you very much. I think India is actually the second most, the country with the second most like views for my channel. So I appreciate that. Great videos. Thank you very much. Best 5 defenders for Limitless. It will be similar to the video I posted the other day. So I'd say Di Lorenzo, Koundé, David Raum, Molina. And now if I had to go for a 5th one, probably Rico Lewis or Ruben Diaz. That would be my tip. So let me know if you got that. Good to take a -12? No. Like I just said, that I wouldn't go there. I know obviously it's all subjective, and if you're doing something like Haaland to Alvarez, you know, as an additional hit, that can pay off, of course. It's not like you have to just, you know, have a sudden cut-off point and say, no, I can't take a -12. But ideally, you don't want to be taking too many hits in UCL Fantasy, in my opinion. Who would you choose in defense if Wildcard's active? So I'll give you an idea of what I'm looking at. Di Lorenzo, David Raum, Molina, Jules Koundé, Rico Lewis. That's the type of defense I'm looking to go for. You choose Wildcard because of Felix and Cancelo? No. Not just because of that, mate. And also, like you say, we're going to get the lineup very soon. The reason why I'm wildcarding is because I've got 2 injury doubts, and I've also got 3 or 4 other benching headaches at the very least. Even if Cancelo and Felix start, I still have about another 4 or 5 problems in my team, and I think my wildcard could really improve my team this week and also in the weeks to come. Already taken a -12. Fair enough, Sean. It can still pay off, of course. I'm not saying your season's over. I'm just saying ideally you wouldn't do it. Is Harry Maguire an option to consider? Not bad, but I would expect United maybe not to concede, but maybe 1 clean sheet maximum from the next 3. He produced a massive return in matchday 3. He was the hero for Man United, but yeah, he's an option to consider. Is he one of my favourites? No. Morata or Vinicius? I'm currently going for Morata, but that's mainly because of budget. I actually think for a lot of people who might want Haaland back in match day 5, maybe Vinicius is the best one because there's only a 0.5 million difference in price between Vinicius and Haaland, if I'm not mistaken. So it might be better for your team structure to go to Vinicius. And also, Vinicius is more consistent in the Champions League. Already used my wild card. Good idea to use Limitless for this game week. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, sorry, I read it wrong. Yeah, I think it is still a good time to use it. The only issue is that in match day 5, you could obviously have other headaches, but the problem with match days 5 and 6, particularly match day 6, is a lot of rotation will happen, especially when some teams have already secured qualification. So yeah, I still think it's a good idea to use the Limitless, to be honest. If you've got 5+ problems, I would do it. Dumfries will play, fair enough. I've already played the wildcard, by the way. Mendes or Doku. Y para mí, Bryce Méndez es más consistente con los minutos y también con los puntos, pero yo iría por Doku en esta semana. Angie, Rodri and Foden from City. My favourite triple up in Manchester City this week would be Alvarez, on the Limitless anyway, would be Alvarez, Doku and Ruben Diaz. And I'm also actually quite open to Rico Lewis. He's currently in my team. Jose Pedro says, Limitless team, thoughts, Diogo Costa, Sommer, Ruben Diaz, Rico Lewis, Di Lorenzo, Mateus Oliveira, Trippier, Foden, Saka, Kalhanoglu, Kvaratskhelia, Musiala, Kane, Griezmann, Mbappe. I like it a lot. But just to pick out some holes in it, Griezmann could play in a midfield role today. I'll show you that very soon. It's according to Marca and a few other reliable sources in Spain. So I'd actually rather go for Morata or Vinicius Jr. instead, especially because you don't have Bellingham. Just in case he starts, you cover Real Madrid offensively that way. So my preference would be Vinicius or Morata for Griezmann. In the midfield, I have no problems with it whatsoever, to be fair. Maybe Doc instead of Foden, but that's really nitpicking. Your defense is absolutely fine too. I actually like the Diogo Costa pick this week because of the Antwerp fixture. Taremi or Alvarez, I'd go for Alvarez. Doku in. I've got him in my team, as you can see, and I also might keep him on the wild card. Look, it's going to be a risky one, no matter what. He is in a lot of predicted lineups, though. I think he'll start, but it's not a guarantee. I'm kind of 70-30 on that. Who do you switch for Haaland, Bellingham, and Galeno? Just to give you 3 names off the top of my head, I would say Vinicius Jr., Musiala, and Brais Mendes. If you can't afford all 3, then maybe instead of Musiala, you can go for Doku or Foden. Yeah, I think that's a good transfer. Even if Haaland starts, Kane should keep up there. Welcome, Miguel. Dylan, ¿de dónde eres? Saludos desde Panamá. Gracias. Soy de Argentina, pero nací en Inglaterra, así que tengo doble nacionalidad. Feyenoord, striker or Morata? Morata, but I do like Jimenez. I do. He was actually born in Argentina, and he does represent Mexico now on the international stage. Ustikiao, a good option. Yeah, also Evanilson is another one, but yeah, I mean, it's a really good fixture. You can't ignore it. The only issue is it's kind of a 1-week punt, and if you've got 5s to put out in matchday 5, it could, result in some problems and potentially hits taken. But for 1 week, I really like it. Alvarez better score a hat-trick. I'm not sure about that, but I think a goal or 2 would be good, and it's possible. Yeah, I like Musiala in for Bellingham. I really rate Musiala in general, and he's been consistent in the Champions League this season. Having to replace Haaland, and with Vinicius and Kane in the team, your favourite option is Joao. Which other attackers do you like? No, not Joao Felix. So my favourite forwards this week would be Kane, Vinicius Jr., Morata. Santiago Jimenez is decent, I have to say. And Harry Kane. Yeah, I think those are the best options. Alvarez is worth, I haven't mentioned him, but yeah, not Felix. That's why I'm looking to sell him, even if he starts. Bellingham playing, I don't know, mate. I personally think he will, but I'm not sure. Like I said, any repeated questions I'm not going to go through. Do I transfer out Haaland for Kane? Yeah, I probably would. I'm on a Limitless, and this is my midfield. Saka, Bellingham, Leroy Sané, Kvaratskhelia, and Brais Mendes. I like it a lot. I really do. The only doubt is Bellingham based on fitness, but if he starts, that is a golden midfield in my opinion. Even if Bellingham plays, would you still start him? I think there's definitely a debate if you're on the Limitless or Wildcard to just get rid of him. But I think if you have him in your normal team, it's difficult. I'd rather sell Haaland than Bellingham, based on probabilities of starting, in my opinion. I put polls out on my channel, and I think the exact same percentages said Haaland will be benched and same with Bellingham. So let's actually go through some different screens, just so it could also answer some questions that are coming through right now. So let's go through the predicted scores first. I want to see your thoughts as well on this. I've gone for 2-0 Barcelona, 1-1 Dortmund and Newcastle, 2-0 Porto, 2-1 Leipzig, 4-0 Man City, and I put the captaincy / booster, joker, no matter what you want to call it, on Man City, 1-1 Milan PSG, 2-1 Lazio, but I might change this. I think my original prediction was a Feyenoord win, and I think they're the better team, to be honest. Atletico Madrid 2-0, 2-1 to Sociedad, 2-0 to Napoli, 2-0 to Inter, 3-1 to Madrid, 2-1 to PSV. Arsenal 3-1, I might change that based on the injuries. 2-1 Man United, and 3-0 Bayern Munich. So that's one thing. Let me know your predictions in the live chat. And let's go through all the news. There's so much to cover. There's probably a lot that's going through right now that I can't see because I'm in the live stream. So if you see anything on Twitter, then let me know and put a link in the live chat. So Bellingham is in the squad list for the match against Braga, despite shoulder discomfort. And also this was from yesterday by a reliable journalist called Edu Aguirre. He says, from what I've been told, I think Jude Bellingham will not play against Braga, but he will start against Valencia. Then we've got Inter Milan. Inzaghi is expected to make 5 changes for the upcoming Champions League game against Salzburg. Bastoni, Darmian, Agosto, and Fratesi, Sanchez all expected to start. And by the way, Carlos Agosto starting means no DeMarco, so keep an eye out for that. And Dumfries could be another one who is benched due to fatigue. Let me go to this. I've been referencing this a few times already in the stream. It looks like Simeone is considering Griezmann in the midfield, and that will be close to Koke, and that could mean Correa and Morata up front. So It's an interesting choice, of course. Griezmann can play in the midfield, as he showed in the World Cup, and that isn't great for his UCL fantasy prospects, in my opinion. So, as much as I like Griezmann, he's in the thumbnail, I'm not so sure about him now, and I would consider Morata instead. Then we've got this about Arsenal. Jesus and Odegaard are not training. No Nketiah either. So remember, there's these three players missing. Thomas Partey and Jurriën Timber. Also Emil Smith-Rowe. So Arsenal will probably play Trossard or Havertz up top if Nketiah isn't fit. And you've got Martinelli and Saka on the wings. It's still a good front three, but they're now down to the bare bones despite quite a lot of squad depth with the entire squad available. Then we've got this predicted lineup by City Extra. They've gone for Ederson, Rico Lewis, Akanji, Ruben Dias, Gvardio, Rodri, Nunes, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Alvarez and Doku. They've got the likes of Haaland, Grealish on the bench, even Kyle Walker, Stones, etc. So some interesting picks in here. I agree generally with this lineup, and I think that's going to be very close to the final team. If Haaland ends up starting, then I think that could be a make or break decision for those that are selling him now, but it is what it is. And I've got these websites ready from UEFA.com when the lineups come out for Borussia Dortmund and Newcastle and Shakhtar Donetsk versus Barcelona. Once the lineups are out, I'll be talking about that as well. Let's go for some polls as well. Which chip are you using in Matchday 4? 67% of you have said none, and 18% have gone for Wildcard, 15% with the Limitless. Vote for the best mid-price forward in UCL Fantasy. Alvarez has won by a landslide, 61%, Morata second, and Jimenez is a close third. Taremi and Ferran Torres are also in the debate, and I also put some polls out regarding Bellingham and Haaland. So this one is, do you think Bellingham will start or not? And 68% of you have gone for no. As for Erling Haaland, 71% of you think he won't start against Young Boys. And the last one, of course, is kind of a general question, and I was providing updates on Bellingham and Haaland, and 39% of you said you're holding Bellingham and Haaland, but that was around 60% at one point. So I think there is a gradual shift in our perceptions regarding these players, and 27% are saying selling Bellingham and Haaland. So that's quite interesting. And the lowest vote is holding Haaland and selling Bellingham. So there we go. We've covered a lot there, and there's still a lot more headed your way. Trust me, there are some doubts about Cancelo, Felix, Dumfries. Let's keep an eye out for the lineups in around half an hour's time, and then we can build upon that information. Let's see. Yeah, we're on the right screen here. Musiala or Sane? I prefer Sane, but both are good. Haaland out or Morata or Vinicius? I think Vinicius. ¿Crees que debería cambiar a Joao por otros -4? No, en este momento no haría eso. Si está en el banco, ahí sí vale la pena, pero si empieza el partido, para mí no vale un -4. I'm probably showing my final wildcard team later on in this stream. Channel members and patrons can already see it, so be sure to check out the page there for those that have already signed up. And of course, later on, I'll be showing my wildcard team, and you can all dissect it, of course. But I do encourage people, don't copy. I know I had a good week in Matchday 3, but I had stinkers in Matchdays 1 and particularly 2. So if you copy someone's team, you're going to limit yourself to how well they're doing instead of going even better. Captain suggestions, we haven't covered it today. So for today, I'd say Alvarez and Morata would be right up there. For tomorrow, there's a lot of options. You've got Vinicius Jr., Harry Kane, and a few other options there as well. But I think if I had to kind of simplify it, I would go for Alvarez today on the Tuesday, and tomorrow I'd probably go for Harry Kane. Simmons or Saka? Saka. Should I transfer out Openda? Yeah, I read somewhere that he was a doubt. I'm not sure how reliable that is. I have to double check that. There's so many teams to keep on top of. So yeah, let me know if you see any updates on Openda. But I think there are better strikers elsewhere, to be honest. Do you get any chips back during the group stages? No. You get the Limitless and Wildcard, and you can only use both of them once throughout the whole competition. Sí, Daniel, como dije antes, soy de Argentina. Tengo doble nacionalidad, pero mi inglés es mucho mejor. Doku or Rodri? Doku is more exciting. I'm going to go for him. Long term, of course, from now until the end of the competition, I think Rodri will score more points. But in this individual match day, assuming Doku starts, I'd go for him all day long. Thoughts on getting Taremi, Evanilson over Alvarez or Vinicius Jr.? They're good options, but I don't think they're better than Vinicius or Alvarez, to be quite honest with you. And look, it's difficult to predict. You know, football is a strange game, and you never know. It could be Porto winning 4-0, Man City or Real Madrid struggle, and you get the likes of Alvarez and Vinicius blanking. But I trust Alvarez and Vinicius way more, and their teams, so I would go for those two instead. Perfect midfield selection. I don't think there's any such thing, because you've got the Bellingham situation. If you don't go for him and he starts, you could be in trouble, and vice versa if you go for him and he is benched. My favourite midfield five, assuming Bellingham starts, will be Leroy Sané, Bellingham, probably Bryce Mendes, Kvaratskhelia and Saka. A few other names to tip into the hat would be Doku and Musiala. So I think picking 5 from those 7 would be the best way to do it. What do you think about Mbappe? He's been a bit disappointing, actually, in the Champions League. He scored 2 goals, but only 6 pointers there. I think he was way better last season and in recent seasons, but PSG are showing some form, and Mbappe has been good, of course, this season. He always is consistent, but I think there are better options, to be honest. And despite Milan struggling a lot, losing quite comprehensively to PSG in the first meeting in Matchday 3, I'd rather go for Vinicius, Alvarez, and a few other strikers this week. But that's just my personal take, of course. I like Xavi Simons, but I'm not sure I'd captain him. I mean, to be honest, you can go for it because, like I said in my videos, if you were to go for a differential captain, do it on the Tuesday. And if it doesn't go right, captain someone like Kane tomorrow and you're fine. Mendes or Doku? If Doku starts, I prefer Doku. I'll be quite honest with you there. For this match day specifically. Overall, Bryce Mendes will score more points. He's very consistent, but if I had to pick one, it would be Doku. ¿Crees que vale la pena activar el Wildcard esta jornada? Creo que sí, yo hice lo mismo y vas a ver mi equipo más tarde. Bryce Mendes against Benfica. Well, he scored in the away game where I thought he'd blank in Matchday 3. Now he's at home. And look, Bryce Mendes will eventually blank. It's a matter of time. So it could happen now, but I still like him, I think, on the wildcard. On the Limitless, maybe I'd go without him, but on the wildcard, I still think he's a great option at his price. Yeah, Ben, I've covered that. Will Newcastle still win in the Signal Iduna Park? It's possible. The last game, of course, they narrowly lost to Borussia Dortmund, but my prediction was 1-1. Let's wait and see. Foden or Doku? I prefer Doku if he starts. Hakan and Alvarez, Foden and Alvarez, Thuram and Alvarez, or Foden and Morata? Good question. My preference would be Hakan, Çalhanoğlu and Alvarez. Having Haaland and Felix on the starting 11 and Bellingham on the bench for Doku, would you wildcard? Wait for the Barcelona lineup first. If Felix is benched, I'd definitely wildcard, I think, just because you've got a lot of doubts there, and you also might have some other ones like Dumfries. Lewandowski's captain, not a bad shout, but he hasn't been in great form. He's just come back from an injury, but a lot of Barcelona fans are really ripping into him. He has a great record in the Shakhtar Donetsk stadium, which is, in Germany, because they're relocating. I think it's in Hamburg, but yeah, I think with Lewandowski, I'm not so sure about him. I'd rather go for Vinicius and a few other strikers, even Mbappe, to be honest. Is that Fran Garcia will start? Fair enough. I mean, I saw him in a predicted lineup, but a lot of Madrid fans think Nacho will start instead. I think I'll remove Jude as I'm going on Limitless this match day. That's fair enough. I think on the Limitless I'd do the same thing. On my wildcard, though, I am considering keeping him. I'd go for Morata. Griezmann could play midfield, as we covered earlier. Yeah, Islam, we've covered that Lewandowski question. I have Haaland, Griezmann and Haaland. Who should I bring for Haaland? I'd say Vinicius. I think Vinicius. Since you've already got Griezmann, Haaland's not too bad on paper against Copenhagen. Yeah, I'd go for Vinicius Jr. I have Olmo and Galeno injured. 2 free transfers and 14 million in the bank. Replacements. Difficult one. I would consider something like Çalhanoğlu and Doku. I'd like that duo, to be quite honest, yeah. Hi Dylan, are there any safe picks which are comfortable to keep in our squad next game week without worrying about rotation? Unfortunately, things change very quickly. Even Real Madrid, if they win tomorrow, they will secure qualification. They can heavily rotate in the next few match days. Man City as well. I think players like Morata could be safe, players from teams like Atletico who haven't completely guaranteed qualification. Haaland to Griezmann, Bellingham to Kvaratskhelia and Galeno to Firmin. Yeah, I like that -4. Zaire Emery as well. I actually prefer Zaire Emery a little bit, but like I said with Griezmann, I'm less keen on him now because he could be playing in midfield. So I'd rather go for Morata, actually. Yeah, play Limitless or Wildcard. I'd play the Limitless, but it depends on your team. It's very difficult for me to say without knowing the context of your squad. For most people, I'd say Limitless. Molina or Kim Min-jae? I think Kim Min-jae offers better value, to be quite honest with you. I'd probably go for him. When to play Wildcard? Depends on your squad, mate. I mean, if you've got 4, 5+ issues, then I'd play it now. If not, if you're quite happy with your team, I'd maybe save it for Matchday 9. Not having Alvarez and Morata, what are the captain for today? Someone else mentioned it. Xavi Simons is not a bad shout. Doku is decent as well. I think any Man City player would be good. As someone else mentioned, Ruben Dias, but I think my favourites would be Alvarez, Doku, and Morata. Vinicius or Kane? Harry Kane still. Olmo and Galeno injured. We've covered that, J-War. Let me know what you think. Let's see what else we have. Santiago Jimenez over Haaland. I mean, Haaland is likely to be benched. Santiago Jimenez will start, and he's a good option at his price. So, yeah. What do you think about the best formation, 3-4-3 or 3-5-2? Well, it doesn't really matter, mate, because remember, if you order your bench in terms of substitutions and those that play tomorrow and those that play today, as I keep talking about in all my videos, then that doesn't really matter, you know, whether you do 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. In terms of which position I'd maybe favour in terms of spending, it would be the forward position. So having 3 really good forwards. Want to point out Dylan, Griezmann and Morata, 1 yellow card away from suspension. That is true. I'll try to give you a quick list now of players that are close to suspension or that are problems and doubts. We've got almost 700 people watching. Thank you very much, but only 100 likes. Let's try to get the ratio up. That'd be massively appreciated. So let's go through this very quickly. So players who are, let me just get this up. Let's see. So let me just go through this very quickly. In terms of players that are out or suspended, Courtois, Ceballos, Eder Militao, Osimhen, Pavard, Asensio, De Bruyne, Dani Olmo are all ruled out. In terms of doubtful, we've got Pedri, Guerrero, Haaland, Bellingham, Kiar, Odegaard, and Marcus Rashford. In terms of suspended players, De Paul and Konoplia. Then in terms of other injured players, Wan-Bissaka, Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, Malacia, Timber, Depay, Lamar, Sven Botman, Danilo Pereira, Kimpembe, Nuno Mendes. And now for players who are 1 yellow card away from suspension, as someone rightly pointed out just now, we've got Alderweireld, Schlotterbeck, Emre Can, Camavinga, Hakimi, Dembele, Musa, Krunic, Simic, Baidu, Gorna Duaf, Marino, Lino, Boscagli, Camara, Luis Palma, Aslani, Miki, Sikan, Castellanos, Vecino, Oliveira, I think someone mentioned him earlier. He's also 1 yellow card away from suspension. Rodic, Stamenic, Huang, Bruno Guimaraes, Samed, Daniel Garmo, who I mentioned earlier, a 4 million defender. He is 1 yellow card away from suspension. In terms of those that are now back, who were previously unavailable, Gavi and Casemiro are back from suspension. And in terms of fitness, Manuel Neuer is back between the sticks for Bayern Munich, Güler from Real Madrid, Koundé, Rafinha, Lewandowski, Jose Maria Jimenez, Brandt, and Upamecano. So yeah, that's a lot of updates there. There are plenty of players, I think, that are at risk, basically, of yellow cards and suspensions. But there you go. And if you see anything on Twitter, any updates at all, be sure to let me know. Is Sane playing? Yes. Why would he not, in my opinion? The only issue with Sane is match days 5 and 6, potentially. Sell Haaland? I'm inclined to say yes. But it's always going to be a risk. No matter what you do with Haaland, it's a risk. Sold Haaland, kept Jude, bought Foden, and Alvarez. Hope it works out. Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I might go for Alvarez and Foden/Doku. Also Rico Lewis. And I've also sold Haaland and kept Jude on my wildcard, but I might sell Bellingham as well. There's a lot of things to kind of iron out, and I'll go through that very soon. Musiala or Doku? Musiala. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka is back now. Yeah, that is true. Kim Min-jae or Di Lorenzo? Di Lorenzo. Dylan, Real Madrid replacement for Bellingham. In the midfield, I wouldn't really go there. I'd be inclined to say Vinicius to cover Madrid's attack, but I'm not a big fan of the other midfielders. Maybe Valverde is not too bad. I like Stengs. He featured in my best wildcard team. I think he's a good option, but I would prefer Brais Mendes right now. Who should I replace these players for? For Dan Burn, I'd consider David Raum from Leipzig, and for Galeno, I would go for Brais Mendes. We talked about Mbappe already. He's not bad, obviously not. He's one of the best players in the world, but just look at his points this season, compare it to what he did in previous campaigns. It's early days, of course, and I think he'll have one big haul in him. But with that fixture run, you've got other alternatives who are perhaps even cheaper and are also getting more points. I just don't really see the need to go for Mbappe right now. He's gotten 2 goals, and yeah, he's limited to 6 points each time. Do you think it's worth punting on a Porto attacker? Yeah, I think it's worth it. But the problem is, look, punting on a Porto attacker is a good idea. But would I go for them over Kane, Morata, Alvarez, and Vinicius? Probably not. The one I'm most inclined to maybe sell or to offload to get a Porto attack will be Morata, but he's still a good option this week. Is it worth taking a -4 hit to get rid of Dumfries? There's a very select few players that I'd take a -4 hit for in the defence, to be honest, so not too sure about that. Maybe Di Lorenzo, but the issue with that is that next week he's got Real Madrid. Get rid of Sane or Saka? I wouldn't get rid of Sane this week. If anything, Saka. But he's got 2 home games now. He obviously did very well in Matchday 1 against PSV. Best defender other than Cancelo? Well, Cancelo might not even start, and I'm not a big fan of him at the moment. I'd say Di Lorenzo. Will Bellingham play? I think so. Don't take my word for it. It's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Cher or Kim Min-jae? Kim Min-jae. Get rid of Sane. Yeah, we got that. Is it worth taking a -4 hit to replace Haaland? Difficult one, to be honest. I think for someone like Vinicius, it could be worth it, but there's not too many forwards I'd sell Haaland to for a -4 hit. Of course, it's a difficult one because we don't know if he's going to start or not. I don't think he will, but you just never know with Pep, to be quite honest with you. Limitless in 5. Yeah, if I didn't use a Matchday 2, the plan would have been to use a Matchday 5. Same fixtures, though. And Matchday 2 is a very low-scoring week, but I would expect that to change next time out. Have you ever taken a hit bigger than -8? Not in UCL Fantasy. I'm desperate to get rid of my goalkeeper, but I had other fires. But the thing is with goalkeepers, though, even if the goalkeeper you bring in gets a clean sheet, you're only going to gain, what, 2 or 3 points from it? And what if your original goalkeeper anyway, or your other goalkeeper, is still able to get a good return, and then that kind of eliminates the need to take a hit? So, look, I'm not completely against hits, let me make that clear. But in the goalkeeper position, it's very, very unlikely to pay off, in my opinion. Simmons and Alvarez for Jude and Haaland. Yeah, I like that, but instead of Simmons, you could also consider Brais Mendes or even Doku, but I think that's good. Estupiñán or Xavi Simons? Xavi Simons, but they're both good. Yeah, I think Rodri will play. He's in most predicted lineups. Not a guarantee, by the way, but he tends to play for City, and they might want to get things done. What player you bring into play to bring for Haaland? Vinicius or Morata, most likely. What do you think of Alvarez? I like him for this match day. If it wasn't for the Haaland injury, though, I probably would avoid because he's been benched in the last 2 Champions League games. But I think it's a good opportunity now for Pep to rest Haaland, start Alvarez, and yeah, I think that's probably going to be the way it's going to go. Edison to start? Yes, I think so. Raum or Molina? I'd go for Raum simply for the price. Thoughts on Calhanoglu? Probably Inter Milan's best asset right now. 7 million, he's making a lot of ball recoveries, he's on penalties too, scored 1 at the weekend. I like Calhanoglu, yeah. Alvarez for Haaland, yes, also another good shout. Xavi Simons, Rodri, Doku, Kimmich, would you change? Probably Kimmich, if I'm being honest. You could also consider Rodri to Foden, but that's very risky. I think Kimmich's the one to sell. Best defenders you recommend for Limitless? Yeah, any of these kind of Limitless or Wildcard questions, be sure to check out the videos because I break it down in detail. There might be a few things that have changed since then. Off the top of my head, I think the best players on the Limitless in the defense is probably Di Lorenzo, Koundé. I'd also go for Ruben Dias. Yeah, the other 2 will probably be Molina and David Raum, something like that, as the best defensive 5. Mbappe on Limitless, I'm not against that, let me make that very clear, but he just hasn't impressed me this season in the Champions League. Kimmich or Simmons? Xavi Simons, por supuesto. Y Vinicius or Alvarez? Para mí, prefiero Alvarez. Taremi over Felix, yeah, to be honest, this week I prefer Taremi. I think that's a good shout. If Felix is benched, that's a really good transfer. Oblak or Kepa? If money is no issue, I prefer Oblak. Limitless or Wildcard today? Depends on your team, like I keep on saying. But for most people, I think Limitless is the best course of action. Because some players you're getting rid of now, you might want back in Matchday 5 anyway. Pablo D says, hi Dylan, hope you're doing great. Thank you very much. Likewise. Haaland plus Bellingham plus Kimmich for Doku, Alvarez and Musiala taking a -4. I like it. Of course, it can always backfire Bellingham and Haaland, but overall, good set of transfers. Yeah, I do like that. Of course, Doku's a bit risky anyway. We all know this, but overall, I think there's a good set of transfers. You could also consider, maybe instead of Doku, you could even triple up on Bayern and go for Leroy Sané. The problem with that, though, is, well, for one, maybe you can't afford that, and two, Bayern Munich could rotate matchday 5 or 6. Best striker there isn't Kane or Felix. I don't think Felix is in the conversation anyway, mate. I'd say Vinicius Jr. is up there, Morata as well, Alvarez. Thoughts on Hakimi and Rodri? Rodri's always going to tick along nicely, and so long as he starts, he's going to get points. As for Hakimi, he's 1 yellow card away from suspension. I'd avoid that. I also don't expect many clean sheets for PSG in the Champions League this season, especially in the group stages, let's put it that way. Yeah, Dawn, we've answered that. Should I Limitless if I've already wildcarded? Look, I don't know what your team situation is, but if you've got 4 players or more who are a doubt or that have injuries, then yeah, I'd consider using it now. Calhanoglu or Mendes? I do prefer Mendes, but it's a really close call, especially this week. Musiala or Xavi Simons, says Merab. I would go for... I'd go for Musiala. Raum or Koundé? Raum. The problem with my answer to both of the last questions, though, is that in matchday 5 and 6, that might not be the best pick. I'm just really looking at matchday 4 when I'm talking about that. Bellingham and Galeno for Musiala and Simons. Yep, I have no problems with that whatsoever. You can also consider Calhanoglu, Doku. Foden or Doku? I'd go for Doku. Hi Dylan, I have Jude, Haaland, Galeno and Olmo. Should I use Limitless or just sell Olmo and Galeno? Tricky one, to be quite honest with you. I think just for those 4 is not too bad. But there is still the risk of Bellingham and Haaland being benched. Not to mention if Cancelo, Felix, Dumfries and others also are a doubt for you, then that is a completely different story. So based on what you've said, I don't think you have to use the Limitless and you could just use the 2 free transfers. But I would be tempted by the Limitless. I'm not going to lie to you. Sane or Musiala, I'd go for Sane. Doku or Musiala, I'd go for Musiala. Some predicted lineups of Foden as the 9 instead of Alvarez. Yeah, it's possible, but this season it's been either Haaland or Alvarez up front. Would you take a -8 for Haaland and Joao to Alvarez and Vinicius? I think I would, but it's still really risky if I'm being quite honest with you. So it's a make or break kind of scenario this week. Dylan, 1 out of the 4 for Jude. It would be Doku, I think. Sold Haaland and Galeno for Kane and Foden. Kept Bellingham, of course. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's fine. I think if I didn't play the wild card and I had your team situation with Galeno and Haaland and Bellingham, yeah, I would have done the same thing. Should I sell Gvardiol? He is in some predicted lineups, but yeah, I'd maybe focus on other transfers elsewhere. Felix for Haaland. I wouldn't go for Felix, if I'm being quite honest with you. I'm looking to sell him. Calhanoglu for Barella, Edison for Stegen. The other transfers are good. I don't like Felix, though, this week. Musiala or Saka? Musiala. Captain Rodri or Xavi Simons? Xavi Simons. Are you keeping Thuram? No. I've wildcarded and he's not in my team. Haaland starter? I don't think so. Alvarez, Vinicius Jr. pick 1. I'd go for Alvarez. Foden, Doku, Trossard, Saka, Xavi Simons, Bruno Mendes, or Bryce Mendes, pick 2. On the Limitless. Yeah, on the Limitless, I'd go for Saka and Doku. Saka or Mendes on Limitless? Saka. I have Haaland, Bellingham, Burn, Galeno. Who should I sell and who should I bring in? Well, Burn is out for multiple months, it looks like, and Galeno's definitely out. So they could be the biggest priorities. If you're not backing Haaland to start, though, I would be tempted by a -4-2 and keep Bellingham. So I think Bellingham is the lowest of your priorities to sell. Burn and Galeno are up there. Then it's Haaland. So I would consider Raum for Burn, probably Bryce Mendes or Doku for Galeno, and maybe Morata or Vinicius for Haaland. Play my wildcard, Emery, Fermin Lopez or Kimmich. I'd go for Zaire Emery. Saka or Kvaratskhelia? Saka. ¿Con cuál te la jugarías, con Doku or Bellingham? Doku. Keep Trossard? Yeah, if I had him, I'd probably keep, but his minutes have been inconsistent all season. That's my issue with him, but he's got a good chance if Nketiah's out. Should I keep Kvaratskhelia on Limitless? I think I would, yeah. -4, Doku por Jude. No sé, porque también Doku no es el más asegurado para empezar, así que es muy difícil, pero sí, creo que no lo haría. No. Yo no usé el Limitless, estoy usando el Wildcard, en un rato lo voy a mostrar. Must be crazy to trust Morata, but he's been in great form. So you've got to take away these, preconceived biases, you could say. So yeah, I'm going to maybe give him another chance. Maybe not to captain, but maybe in my team. Captain Morata or Alvarez? I'd go for Alvarez. Would you sell Bellingham? Free transfer if all your players play. Would you sell Bellingham free transfer? Well, yeah, if you're happy with the rest of your squad, I'd still maybe take a punt and sell him. But it's a risk. Of course it is. Dylan, what's your reason for wildcarding? Because I've been able to make 6, 7, possibly even more upgrades in my team. I actually made 10 transfers on the wildcard. And we're going to find out now with the Barcelona lineup if the likes of Felix and Cancelo start, who they were in my team originally. So I'm going to have a quick look now and see. And also have a quick look on Twitter, just so we can get more information and that we don't have everything blind. So, yeah. Let's see. All right, I've got the Barcelona lineup here. Yeah, it's still not out. Gotta wait another 15 minutes, looks like, maybe 13 minutes. So, yeah, once it's out, I'll be going through it. Like I said before, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. We've got almost 800 people watching now, and we are just under 200 likes. Our aim is to get this to over 300 at the very least, so let's be sure to do that. Thank you very much for the super chat. Aaron Carrillo, thank you very much, mate. That's very generous. If you've got a question, then be sure to let me know. I think you put something straight after. Está bien un -4 si quito a Dan Burn. Si mis otros defensas son Íñigo Martínez, Hanko, Bastoni, Rudiger. ¿A quién pondrías de cambio de Burn? Sí, es una buena pregunta. Me gusta mucho a David Raum, pero mi problema es que con tus otros problemas, especialmente con Íñigo Martínez, es difícil porque David Raum juega con City en la jornada 5, así que quizás tienes que ir por alguien más asegurado en la jornada 5 y 6 y con mejores partidos. Así que si no vas por David Raum, yo iría por Jules Koundé de Barcelona. No sé si vos ya tienes a 3 jugadores de Barcelona, así que avísame, pero sí, Jules Koundé o David Raum me gusta mucho. También está Rico Lewis de Manchester City. Yo creo que va a jugar, está en mi equipo, así que es otro que puedes considerar. Así que sí, David Raum, Rico Lewis o Jules Koundé. Best calendar replacement other than Mendes? Doku. Who are you starting your team, Sane or Vinicius? Both have fixtures on 9th of November. It doesn't matter, mate. Just bench one of them. It doesn't really matter. And then just take off your low scoring players from the Tuesday matches. Who do I prefer overall? It's Leroy Sane, but don't bench either of them and keep them on the bench. Otherwise, you're spending 9+ million for nothing. Vinicius or Griezmann? Vinicius. Would you change Rodri to Mendes or Doku? I'm not so sure if I would, to be honest. I mean, Mendes and Doku have more potential, a high ceiling, but I think you might have other fires to put out, to be honest. What teams would you target for the wild card? Good question. Well, of course, there's always the question of the best teams, which would be Man City, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, etc. But you also have to think about teams that still have something to play for by matchday 5 or 6. So that could mean Atletico Madrid, for example, Arsenal. There's a few teams like that that have a lot of quality, but they also haven't secured qualification yet. So, yeah, I think I'd look at those teams. I'd also consider Leipzig still. The only issue with that is matchday 5 against City. But yeah, I think Leipzig offers some good players. Apart from that, Feyenoord have some good gems like Stengs and Santiago Jimenez. So there's quite a few teams I mentioned to you there, but it's all about striking that balance between players that are really good now in matchday 4 and also have something to play for in the future. Yeah, I think he's a sell, Punjabi, but don't do it yet. Wait for the lineup. If he doesn't start, then sell him. My plan is the wildcard, Andre. I didn't want to, but with all the injuries and problems that just keep surfacing, Denzel Dumfries having problems in training, Cancelo and Felix are doubts, you've got Haaland and Bellingham, not to mention a few other problems here and there. Thuram is not guaranteed to start. I just decided to play it because I think I could really benefit in matchday 4. Let's see how it goes. My only concern with the wildcard, though, is matchdays 5 and particularly 6. That is the big issue. Thank you very much, Walid. I appreciate it very much. Let's go also to the super chat. from Devashish. Thank you very much for the super chat. Yamal or Kimmich? Already have Musiala, Limitless. Well, I'd only go for Yamal if he starts. If he doesn't, then Kimmich is definitely a better player. But to be honest, I think there are better than both Yamal and Kimmich. You've got Fermin Lopez from Barcelona. You've also got Stengs, Brais Mendes, Doku, even Rodri. There's also Zaire Emery. There's a lot of different options. Gordon. I'd rather go for those midfielders instead of Yamal and Kimmich, in my personal opinion. Çalhanoğlu or Doku. I'd probably go for Çalhanoğlu just because he's safer. Doku is more exciting though. What I like about Doku is that he plays today. So if he doesn't start or he's a bit disappointing, you can always sub him out tomorrow. So it's a tricky one. Çalhanoğlu is more consistent, but I think I'm currently going for Doku just for the excitement and also my balance between Tuesday and Wednesday. Thank you, Hosea. Let's go through that right now. Cancelo is starting, says yeah. So there we go. Let's go through this team together. All right, so is it not on UEFA.com? That's a surprise if it's not here. Interesting. Going to refresh the page just in case. Might have to go through Twitter then. I actually thought it'd be on UEFA.com. They typically release it first. So let me just go to Barcelona's Twitter page and get that lineup from there. Yeah, the team is out. Okay, let's bring this up on screen. So thank you for that, Hosea and co. So ter Stegen, Cancelo, Araujo, Gavi, Ferran Torres, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Christensen, Marcos Alonso, Romeo, and Gundogan. There is no Jules Koundé. He is on the bench, so that means I'm going to have to make a change already to my wildcard team. I was actually quite buoyant on Koundé. And look at that. No Felix as well, if I'm not mistaken. Or am I bugging out? Let me just double check that. Yes, he's on the bench as well. So Joao Felix is benched and Cancelo starts, but Jules Koundé is another one who's also benched. So let's actually go to my team. And like I said, patrons and channel members could have seen my team from around an hour ago. As soon as I made the transfers, I released it on my channel membership page and also Patreon. But now I'm going to show you my team. So let's bring this up. This was my original team, and I've now made some changes. So this is my current wildcard setup. Let me know what you think. Don't copy. Honestly, it's just not good for you, really. But I've got Bellingham in there still. I am considering making some changes there, though, if I'm being quite honest with you. So let's actually refresh this too. All right, so that was my old team. This is the new one. So let's go with that. All right, and then if we go to the other one too, just to have that ready. Okay, so yeah, there's a few things now that I need to change. So Jules Koundé is one of them. And also Bellingham is on the chopping block. I am considering selling both of these assets. Let me know who you'd bring in for those two. I think Rico Lewis will start. Same with Alvarez and Doku. Although I do admit they are risky picks. I'm quite happy with the rest of the team. I think it's quite nailed on. Ramiro could come in for summer to give me more funds. I'm also quite open to some other defenders. But overall, I'm quite happy with the squad. I could even consider, instead of Morata, going for a very expensive forward line and going for Vinicius Jr. And then we can go for something like this. Instead of Bellingham, we can go for maybe Stengs or another midfielder around 6 million. But yeah, I think there's quite a few things I could do here. And that Koundé benching will mean more headaches for my wildcard team. I was quite settled with it, but now it's definitely time to change. But before we delve into my team any further, let's go to Borussia Dortmund and Newcastle. Their lineups are also out. So Borussia Dortmund are going for Kobel, Schlotterbeck, Oskan, Nemecha, Fulkrug, Hummels, Brandt, Sabitzer, Sula, Ryerson, and Adeyemi. As for Newcastle, Pope, Trippier, Schär, Lascelles, Joelinton, Wilson, Hall, Livramento, Willock, Longstaff, and Bruno Guimaraes. So, yeah, of course, Newcastle have a lot of injuries now. Dan Burn is out for a few months, it looks like. Bruno Guimaraes is one yellow card away from suspension, but yeah, we're not really too interested in this one, to be quite honest with you. But the lineup is out there if you want to check it out. The main one is Barcelona versus Shakhtar Donetsk, and the big news is that Felix is benched and Joao Cancelo starts. Jules Koundé, another popular option, is benched too. I mean, I could go for Ronald Araujo, who scored at the weekend, but yeah, I think I'm going to look elsewhere now in the Barcelona defence. I could even go back to Cancelo, to be honest, but let's wait and see. So If we go to this squad, it's kind of already sorted out by the captaincy and the bench order. So for those of you that aren't aware, those that are on my bench are all playing on the Wednesday. Every Tuesday players are my starting 11, and my lowest scoring players I will take off during the substitution window and bring on those Wednesday players. But let's now go back to this, and we've got a lot to discuss here. So let's see if I can fit in Cancelo. I think if I do, then going for Vinicius might not be worthwhile without downgrading other positions. Let's go for Morata. And 7.5 million, so I'd be 0.3 million off from affording Bellingham too, but that's because I've got Cancelo, Molina and Di Lorenzo, 3 expensive midfielders. I've also gone for a triple up in Bayern Munich attack at the moment, but I am considering shifting away from that simply because that could be a big issue in match days 5 and 6 once Bayern Munich secure qualification. So now, yeah, we've got over 800 people. It's definitely going to be even busier now, the live chat. So let's get straight back into your questions. We've gone through the lineups already. Juan Miguel Gutierrez says, is it worth using Limitless today? Use the wildcard. I think so. But as I mentioned to other people, it's all about the team. You know, I don't know your squad situation. Do you have 5+, you know, injury / rotation doubts? Do you have Felix, for example? Do you have Haaland, Bellingham? I'm assuming you do. Do you also have Dumfries and other doubts? If so, I would use the Limitless now. But if you're very happy with most of your squad, and I'm talking about 10, 11 plus players, then I don't think you need to. It's all about that. But I think for a lot of people, using the Limitless or wildcard could be very beneficial. Welcome, Sanjay. Good to see you. No Gordon. Yeah, it looks like no Gordon. That would be the big dilemma. And also, that could mean I buy Gordon in FPL, as I'll discuss later this week. Couldn't they benched? Yeah. Well, that's why I've got the wild card. There's so many different, you know, players that are benched. I had Felix in my normal team, and now I've wild carded, and I can navigate that. But matchday 5 and 6 is going to be a big pain. Yeah, I use the wild card, Jimenez or Morata. We've answered that. I'll go for it one more time. My preference is Morata. That doesn't mean Jimenez is bad though. Openda or Lautaro Martinez. My preference would be Openda based on the news I'm getting. Apparently Inter Milan will make 5 changes and Lautaro Martinez is not nailed on to start this week. Morata captain, I don't mind it, but I think that's probably a step too far for me. I'm quite happy having him, and look, he's not a bad option. He's one of the best options on Tuesday, but I do prefer Alvarez. 7.8 million midfielder. Well, apart from Bellingham, I'd say Doku or Foden are up there. Dumfries is a doubt. Yes, he didn't train fully. I think he had fatigue issues. Captain, Doku or Simmons? I'd go for Doku. Forza Morata, good player this week. I even like him for match days 5 and 6. And he's even a good captaincy option on the Tuesday. Kane and Gundogan or Lewandowski and Musiala? Kane and Gundogan. But then again, I have to double check that about Gundogan and Lewandowski. So go back to the team. Yeah, Lewandowski and Gundogan do start. Okay, fair enough. Just to double check that. Yeah, I'd go for the first duo as I mentioned. So we now go back to this team. Yeah, best Joao Felix replacement: Alvarez or Morata? Morata or Vinicius? I'm currently going for Morata, but if funds are no issue to you and you're happy with the rest of your squad, I think Vinicius is better. Morata or Griezmann? Morata. Lewandowski captain? Not for me, but he has a good record in that stadium. 5 goals in Hamburg. Dani Olmo, he's injured, so he's a sell. What to do with Haaland and Bellingham? I'm currently, well, I had Bellingham in my wildcard. I've still got him at the moment. I'm more inclined to sell Haaland, but I think I might end up selling both, to be quite honest with you, which is risky. I'd go for Sane captain out of those two as well. Dumfries out. He's not officially out, but he is a doubt. And even if he does start, I'm very, very unsure if he's going to play the full 90, which could work in your favour if he's subbed out around 60 minutes, banking a clean sheet. Worth taking a -4 to replace Felix and Morata? I think so. It's not ideal, but it's not bad. Which 2 City mids would you go for? Probably Doku and Foden. Hola, Dian. Dame un bueno diferencial. Y mencioné muchos en mis videos, así que David Raum es uno. También tienes a Doku. Morata es otro. Griezmann. Rico Lewis es otro. Mira, un porcentaje. Así que sí, hay varios y están en mi equipo también. Thank you, Alejandro. Greetings from Panama. Thanks, Dylan, says Gilberto. Thank you very much. Lewandowski or Morata? Morata. Yep, Felix is bench. We've covered that. He was in my normal team, and I thought yeah, I thought also Cancelo was a doubt to start. And just too many issues with my team, and that's why I've wildcarded. Why don't you like Lewandowski? I just don't think he's the best option overall. If I'm being quite honest with you, look at his recent form too. He's struggling, just came back from an injury, and Barcelona fans are ripping into him. It's up to you if you want to go for him. I just don't want to go there myself. Which two City mids would you go for? Yeah, I covered that. Which teams look like they will secure qualification after this game week? If I'm not mistaken, Man City, Real Madrid. I think if Arsenal win and the other game ends in a draw or something like that, or if Lens win, then they secure qualification. So there's a few teams, but I still think teams like Arsenal will go strong in the Champions League because they want to secure first position too. But I think teams like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich and City are the ones that offer the biggest rotation risks in match days 5 and 6. My current captain is what you see on screen. Lewandowski and Morata. I prefer Morata. Pep will shock us all next season. Next season? Or do you mean tomorrow or later today? Are you using a chip today? Yeah, I'm using the wildcard. Kvaratskhelia or Saka, Rodri or Mendes, Mbappe plus Stengs or Jimenez plus Saka. I would go for Jimenez and Saka. Saka or Sane, I'd go for Sane. What about Olmo? I just said he's injured. He's out. Thoughts on Trossard and Saka? I'd rather sell Trossard, but he could also play false 9. I don't think Haaland will play. It's up to you though. I could be wrong. I wish. I've actually just used my wildcard now, and I used the Limitless already. I wasted that chip, actually. See defender suggestions on Limitless. Ruben Dias, Akanji, and Rico Lewis. Vinicius over Morata, even though Vinicius is misfiring. But Vinicius is good in the Champions League, 6 and 8 points. But, yeah, if money was no issue, like I said, then I'd go for Vinicius. But because of the team structure I'm trying to go for, I might end up just going for Morata. And also, match days 5 and 6, Morata is much more likely to start as well. Welcome, Jack and Coke. Good to see you. Great name. No more Limitless and Wildcard. Same here. Already with a -4 hit, -8 hit to either change Felix or Gordon. Yeah. So maybe Felix to Alvarez or Morata, or Jimenez, Gordon to even Stengs or Brais Mendes, Doku. That could be worth it too. Haaland suffered an ankle injury against Bournemouth, which you covered already. Latest on Haaland and Bellingham. We also covered that earlier. So just to kind of recap very briefly, Bellingham suffered a dislocated shoulder. He trained, but he wasn't able to complete the session because he was suffering discomfort and pain throughout the session. As for Erling Haaland, he has been training as well, and the injury doesn't seem serious, but he's also more likely to be benched than Jude Bellingham, and a lot of City predicted lineups don't have Haaland in there. How would you rank City mids right now? Doku, Foden, Rodri, Bernardo Silva is probably how I'd rank it. I don't think Haaland plays. Once again, it's my opinion. Don't, base your decisions off my opinion. It's just literally what I think. Thoughts on Saliba? Good for ball recoveries. I think 1 clean sheet is possible over the next 2 with back-to-back home games, but I'm a bit unsure about Arsenal at the moment with so many injuries. They're kind of down to the bare bones in some areas. If you think Bayern will rotate next match days, like I said, I'm probably going to get rid of Musiala, but I still want to look at the match day right in front of me, which means Sane and Kane are very likely to be in there. So there's still a few points of contention in my final squad, especially with Koundé also being benched. Doku or Stengs until match day 6. I'd say Stengs is safer, so I'd go for him. ¿Qué piensas de los delanteros Morata, Jiménez y Kane? No tengo problemas. Prefiero a Álvarez sobre Morata y Jiménez, pero está bien. Molina or Di Lorenzo? Di Lorenzo. What about Coman? Good shout, but he's probably just below Musiala and Sane. My name is Dylan, by the way, not Andy. But yes, Lautaro is a viable option. Is he great? I don't think so. Not at the moment, anyway. Haaland for Alvarez or Gordon to Doku for a -4? I'd go for Gordon to Doku because at least Haaland is playing for Man United. -12 says Dawn. Fair enough. I mean, there's some good transfers, but it could backfire by selling Haaland and Bellingham for a -12, of course. Best 8 million midfielder. I'd say Doku, Brais Mendes, and Calhanoglu are my favourites. I think they'd be right up there. So that also plays into this debate. Instead of Musiala, I might differentiate things by going for Calhanoglu here. And I also have 1.2 million in the bank. So let me know what changes you would make to this wildcard squad. I could bring Joao Cancelo back in and Calhanoglu. And I've also got Rico Lewis, Molina, David Raum, Di Lorenzo. I'm guessing some of you might say go for Saliba or Ruben Dias over Lewis. That could be a shout. Also to sell Bellingham. Would you sell him? If so, who would you go to? I'm very tempted by a trip up in Bayern Munich offensively, but I think it could be a big issue in match days 5 and 6. I originally had Saka in my Limitless team, my wildcard team, but with so many injuries to Arsenal, it could go one of both ways, where Saka is going to take the responsibility and do really well, or he's going to struggle because Arsenal in general just can't find their rhythm in a very tight game against Sevilla. So it's a tricky one. There's some big decisions to be made this week, but I could end up wildcarding to something like this. And then, yeah, instead of Joao Cancelo, I mean, I could go for Araujo or maybe a cheaper Barcelona defender. But yeah, I think that's how I'm going to go. Cancelo, Molina, Lewis, Raum, Di Lorenzo. Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting to say the least. I could also do this. Instead of Summer, I can go for Mura with back-to-back home games. And I'm also now 0.1 million off from getting Saka and Calhanoglu. So let me know what you would change with this squad to be able to afford it. I'd be very interested to see your thoughts. And another issue is that it might be a struggle for me to get Bellingham and Haaland back in matchday 5. But maybe both teams have qualified by then anyway. My captain is what you see on screen, Alvarez at the moment. Fulham Foden, good option in the midfield. Not my favourite, but he should start, and he's got a good chance of hauling. Best Haaland replacement, Vinicius Jr., Morata, Alvarez are the best in my opinion. Of course, if you don't have Harry Kane, he's number 1. Best goalkeeper duo on the Limitless. I'd still say Ter Stegen and Sommer are 2 of the best. There's also Edison and Kepa, who I discussed in the Limitless video. So I think those 4 are absolutely fine. Saka or Kvaratskhelia? Saka. And yeah, that's another one actually. Kvaratskhelia I might just bring in anyway, just for the funds. That's a good shout. Who's a must-sell long-term? I want to say either are must-sells, mate. I don't think that. But I think Haaland is less likely to start in matchday 4. Thoughts on Barrenechea? I like him, but he's a doubt. If you check the recent update, I believe he's a doubt for matchday 4, so I would look elsewhere. I would go for Saka, I think. Yeah, assuming you have Sane and Kane already. Thoughts on Taremi? Good forward, not my favourite. I think Morata, Santiago Jimenez and Alvarez are better, but Taremi would be right up there. Vinicius or Alvarez? Alvarez. Thoughts on Simmons captain? Not against that. It's a differential. You can always change it tomorrow. Not my favourite, though. Rodri or Simmons or Musiala? Musiala. What about Davis? Not a bad shout either, but I actually prefer Kim Min-jae on the Limitless because of ball recoveries. No Joao Felix, yep, and also no Jules Koundé. Do I make all the moves or only some, says Dawn? I think only some, to be honest. So Mendes in for Gordon. Also Felix out for Alvarez. I think that's another shout. And then it's up to you if you want to do the other moves. Yeah, Galeno out for Musiala. So I'd do a -4, I think. Something like that, potentially. And get rid of the bench players and Galeno, who's out as well. Man City defender. I like Rico Lewis as a differential. But there's also Ruben Dias and Akanji. I had Akanji already in my normal team. Sane, Mendes or Musiala? Sane. But they're all good. Honestly, they're all really good. Morata and Bellingham or Vinicius and Saka? Vinicius and Saka. Just because of the injury to Bellingham, which could keep him out. Yeah, that's true. That is true. He hasn't been great. That is a good point. I do like that. But then again, Saka's just come back from an injury, and I do think it's been played a little bit overboard. I also think Arsenal in general are missing some key players, and Arteta's tactics aren't getting the best out of the attackers. Haaland, Bellingham, Galeno, what do I do? And Jordan, well, I'm guessing that's Gordon. I'd sell Gordon and Galeno for sure, and then possibly sell Haaland for a -4. Hey Dylan, best midfielder under 9.3 million. Sane, no? Yeah, Sane would be my answer. -4 hit with Emery in, Gordon out. I think Emery's a good option, but I'm not sure if it's worth a -4 hit, mate. -4 Haaland, Felix, Galeno to Vinicius, Alvarez and Musiala. Yep, I like that. I'd go for it. Oh, Haaland and Bellingham out. They're not completely ruled out, but Haaland is very likely to be benched, and you've also got Bellingham, who could be forced into the starting 11, but he's been suffering some pain during training. So by the way, like I said already, let me know in the live chat if you see any updates about any teams. It could be about Man City later on and their lineup. If you see anything about Haaland, that would be greatly appreciated, or even Bellingham, which would be absolutely ideal as well. But yeah, at the moment, I don't see anything on Twitter. Another predicted lineup I see actually includes Haaland. So that would be a big shame if he actually ends up starting. But yeah, the C Extra predicted lineup we went through earlier didn't have Haaland, and it contained the likes of Rico Lewis, Doku, and Phil Foden, Alvarez as well. But yeah, I don't see any recent predicted lineups, so to speak. There's not really much news on Dumfries, just that he suffered, well, he's having fatigue in training, so he wasn't able to complete the session, I believe, and he is a doubt for Matchday 4. As for Alvarez, I mean, there's no injury there to really report on, but a lot of people expect him to start. Yeah, 5 Max, like I said, Haaland isn't ruled out completely, but it's very unlikely that he will start. By the way, any spamming, you will be, timed out and stuff like that, and I encourage any moderators as well to do so. And thank you very much, Punjabi. As he says, 900 people on board, and yeah, let's try to get the likes even higher. So if we actually have a look now, and also at the subscriber count. So yeah, we've gained around 100 subscribers from this stream alone, which is greatly appreciated. Let's keep on subscribing and smashing the like button. We've got 243 likes, so we can definitely get this to over 400. Let's keep on racking them up. It'd be greatly appreciated. Is Walker playing today? I don't think so. I think Rico Lewis will play. Akanji will play. I believe he will. Jimenez, Alvarez, or Morata? Alvarez. Lewandowski. Yeah, he's a decent option. Good record in that stadium, but I don't like his form. I think Barcelona have a good fixture, but it is away from home. And I also think Barcelona have been struggling a little bit offensively in recent games. But not a bad shout. Any other captain from Barcelona today? Probably Cancelo. Arriesgo menos 12 puntos en 3 cambios o mejor usar Limitless. Para mí, yo usaría Limitless, sin ninguna duda. -4 for Cancelo Gundogan. I'd go for Cancelo. And that's fair enough. I'd go for Cancelo. I just think he has a higher ceiling than Gundogan. Will Ake play? I don't think so. He started the weekend. I don't think he will. Once again, I'm only offering my opinion, and I've seen some predicted lineups. Rico Lewis start confirmed via Luke this FPL on X. Thank you, Trim. I'll have a look. Let's see if I can get that. So, Rico Lewis starts. That's great news for me, mate. I'm going to have him in my team. And also, even if Man City qualify, he could still start match days 5 and 6. That's what I like about Rico Lewis. So if that news is true, that is golden. So thank you for that, Trim. I appreciate that. Akanji or Lewis? Is that Lewis? Oh, Rico Lewis. I'm going for Rico Lewis at the moment. And if, the source is reliable, let me put it that way. And if it's true, then I'd rather have Lewis. Rico Lewis or Cancelo? I'd still go for Cancelo, but Lewis is 4.5 million. Let's not forget that. Foden and Trossard or Saka and Doku? I'd go for Saka and Doku. Yeah, I think so, potentially, especially if City win the group. But then again, they've only got 2 strikers, official strikers. They can play some false nines here and there, but I think Alvarez could still get some minutes in the Champions League. So yeah, there are some concerns with my team going forwards. I do agree with you on that. But yeah, I'm still quite happy with this setup overall. Now, look, for this match day specifically, I think Kvaratskhelia would be amazing, and I've got the exact funds to do it. But the issue with this now is if I break it down, Kane, Sane, Alvarez, Doku, all of these players could be benched in future match days, even in match day 4, potentially, especially in the case of Doku. Then I also look at a few other issues. Di Lorenzo and Kvaratskhelia playing Real Madrid in match day 5. Then you've got Cancelo and ter Stegen. They could also go through. So there's a few things that creep up in the surface by some of these selections, but I think I'm going to risk it and go without Bellingham and Haaland, and let's see how it all goes. But I think I'm going to go for a cheaper midfielder here instead. I might also put up a poll and see your thoughts in terms of Bellingham and Haaland, your recent thoughts. Dylan, Inigo Martinez to Rico Lewis? Yes, is my simple answer. Will Walker play? I don't think so. Calhanoglu or Saka? Calhanoglu just for price. Of course, on a Limitless, I'd go for Saka. Vinicius or Morata? No money problems. In that case, I'd probably go for Saka and Vinicius, if money is no issue at all. Calhanoglu in for Musiala and Cancelo in for Koundé. Yeah, I'm looking at those moves myself, Nabil. But if I had Musiala and, well, Koundé, of course, he's a sell. But if I had Musiala in my normal team, I wouldn't sell him. Let me make that very clear. I still think he's a great option. Bellingham is training, I know that, but he didn't complete the training session and he suffered discomfort. Now, I think he will play, but I'm not 100% on it. But yeah, if we break it down, if we have Bellingham in here, we've got this setup. I've got 1.7 million in the bank as well. And overall, I'm quite happy with it, to be quite honest with you. And I can even go to Sommer instead of Ramiro. So we've got 45 minutes left. It's going to be a very action-packed deadline, to say the least. We have gone through a lot of questions, and we'll go through some more as well. We've almost got 1,000 people watching. Like I said, smash the like button, and let's rack this up. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. There's a link to the Discord server as well in the description below. The UCL Fantasy League, we've got over 3,000 members. I think it's the biggest UCL Fantasy League in the world. Let's now put out a poll very quickly. And it's going to be a very simple one for now. I'm going to kind of escalate it later on and put some more polls too. So which goalkeeper do you prefer? I'm building my wildcard team on stream, and this could also help some of you who are watching. So which goalkeeper do you prefer? I'm going to put 2 options only, just to keep it quite simple, I think. Maybe I'll put a third one, but yeah, probably not a great idea to do that. So yeah, we're going to put these 3. See what you lot think. So these are the Wednesday goalkeepers. I'm quite settled on ter Stegen as my starting goalkeeper here. And then it's about settling that second one. If I go for Ramiro, I have more money in the bank and I can use that for other upgrades too. But I want to see in the live chat, you can just be one-word answers, or, you know, just say this player to this player. What would you upgrade in this team? I'd be very interested to know. So maybe would you sell Bellingham? Would you sell Brais Mendes? Maybe one of my defenders? Just let me know, and I want to see your thoughts and we can go through it together. We've gone through all the team news and stuff that we got earlier today. But yeah, of course, there will be some people joining late and we might have to recap on some things, but I don't want to just repeat myself, to be honest. So yeah, we'll do it quite logically. Musiala is not injured. I don't think he is. I don't know where you got that from. If you've got a link, let me know. Sane or Musiala? Sane. Calhanoglu or Kvaratskhelia? Calhanoglu. You mentioned Lewis is starting according to Luke FPL. How about Doku or Foden? He didn't mention anyone else. Obviously, shout out to Trim who pointed me in that direction. I'm refreshing the page, by the way, but no, that was the only news he gave. Rico Lewis starts. So I'll stay on this page just in case he gets any more updates, and that'll be greatly appreciated. But for now, we only know that Rico Lewis starts according to a reliable source. Do you think it's worth taking a -4 with Musiala or Alvarez replacing Joao? Yes. But of course, with Musiala, that would be in another transfer, no? Because Alvarez is a straight swap, should I say, and Musiala would be another hit. So I'd rather go for Alvarez, to be honest. Dylan, my team is good for the match day, but do you think it's best time to use the Limitless? Well, if you're happy with your team, then no, you don't really need to. But there might be some players who aren't flagged and you think will start, like Dumfries, and they might not because of problems they had in training. He had fatigue, for example. So just be careful about that. We've covered a lot of the big assets and their problems in this stream. Is Haaland going to play? I don't think so. I think he's going to be benched. That's my personal opinion. And all lineups I've seen have Alvarez up front as well. Raum or Kim Min-jae? I'd say Raum, but Kim Min-jae is another good shout. He was also in my original wildcard team. I do like him a lot, but Bayern Munich aren't the greatest defensively. Just joined. Thoughts on Musiala? One of the best youngsters in the world. Top 5 dribbler. UCL fantasy-wise, he's been consistent. I like him a lot, but I do prefer Sane and Kane. I have Felix benched and Haaland, Bellingham and Galeno injured. Should I take a hit? I'd be inclined to. Now, Galeno is the big one to sell, and Felix, because Haaland and Bellingham could still play, whether it's off the bench or starting. I think Bellingham is the most likely to play of them all. So you could arguably keep him and sell the rest there, nuclear atoms. Is this the wild card? Yes, but it's not fully confirmed yet. I'm still making some changes here and there. Stengs or Jimenez? I prefer Stengs a little bit more just because of, you know, the budget and also just the alternatives you have in the forward position as well. Thoughts on Chelsea Spurs? It was a great game to watch, but I think Spurs were very naive, you know, very, very naive to go, you know, with that high line against, you know, with 9 men. It just doesn't make sense. You're already covering a lot more ground being 1 man down, let alone 2 men down, and then playing with that high line. It just opened up. You know, if they did that against Man City, Liverpool, or Arsenal with 9 men, it would have been much worse than 4-1. I'm telling you that right now. -4 for Gordon out? Yes, I'd probably sell him. Ederson or Oblak? Ederson. Bellingham injured. Should we consider replacing him? well, yes, you should consider replacing him, but it's not a simple yes or no answer because he could still play. And out of him and Haaland, I think he's more likely to start. Do you think Fran Garcia will play tomorrow? No. Maybe off the bench, 1 point, but I don't think he starts. Captain Kane or Alvarez? Alvarez today. If he doesn't do well, change it to Kane tomorrow. Remember, the captaincy isn't like FPL. You don't have one captaincy choice per week. You can change it. So Tuesday, you captain someone, they do well, whatever it be. You can then change the captaincy during the substitution window tomorrow before the next set of games start on the Wednesday. Be sure to, check all of the updates and all the rules on the website. There's also a video out on my channel, how to play UCL Fantasy. It covers everything you need to know. You don't need to ask those sorts of questions because, I know that Bellingham is training, but he didn't complete the training session. I don't know how else to put it. He also suffered discomfort. I think he will play, but I'm not convinced about it. Doku starts. I think so. Morata or Griezmann? Morata. Griezmann could play in a midfield position. Jimenez is the best attack in Europe after Guirassy right now. Yeah, but did you see his last 2 games? He missed 2 big chances in one game, and in the other one he also blanked. So he's a good striker. I'm not saying he isn't, but he's not essential. He definitely isn't. You got Morata, you got Alvarez, Vinicius Jr., Kane. So many forwards in the game. Zaire Emery or Calhanoglu? Yeah, Zaire Emery has been very impressive. I like that shout, but I do prefer Calhanoglu. Doku playing? I think so. Don't hold me to that. It's honestly so difficult to predict Pep Guardiola. -4 for Dumfries. I'm not a big fan of defender hits, but I think I would. Yeah, it's a risky one because there's still a chance of him playing. Yeah, Galeno is injured. That is true. Morata versus Foden for captaincy. Out of those two, I'd probably go for Morata, but tricky one. Should I use my wildcard today? If you've got 5+ doubts and injuries and, rotation risks, then yeah. -8 o sin límites. Acabo de ver a Joao Félix en la banca y tuve que hacer fichajes por las lesiones. Yo iría por el Limitless. Porque, mira, si vos haces el -8, en la jornada 5, ahí es el mejor tiempo para usar el Limitless también, el sin límite. Así que para mí yo lo usaría ahora. Y después algunos jugadores que están lesionados ahora pueden volver en la jornada 5. Is Galeno worth a -4? Selling him? Yes, I think so. Especially if you have a lot of funds, so you can upgrade quite significantly. Mendes or Doku? I think Doku if he starts. That's the big question though, if. Mendes is much safer, he'll get more points overall, but for this match day, I think Doku. Which City mid will you go for? Well, I'm going for Doku right now. He was in my team already, so I might just keep him on the wildcard. And if he doesn't play, so be it, I sub him out. Not a big deal. ¿Crees que Haaland o Bellingham jueguen? Creo que Bellingham sí, pero no estoy seguro. Y con Haaland, yo creo que va a estar en el banco. Will Akanji start? I think so. Best Dumfries replacements from Man City. Rico Lewis and Ruben Diaz. It looks like Rico Lewis starts, by the way. Dylan, if Bellingham doesn't play, what's the Madrid predicted lineup? Well, according to UEFA, Bellingham is in the lineup. If Bellingham weren't to play, I think it could be Güler coming in. He's just come back from an injury, so they can get some minutes into him. I think there might be something else. Maybe Brahim Diaz could come in as well and get some minutes too. Actually, I talked about him in this press conference as well. Thank you, Marcelo. Alvarez or Doku captain? Alvarez. I was completely relaxed until I saw Felix benched. To be honest, though, I saw murmurings from earlier today of Felix being benched. I also saw about Cancelo, but he starts. Also about Dumfries. He could be injured as well. He's got fatigue issues. Which mid will get the most points today? I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, mate, if I'm being honest with you. But if I had to predict one, probably Doku. But that all depends on whether he starts or not. And it's probably not going to be him. It's going to be someone else completely random. But out of the kind of template options or the more popular ones, I'd say Doku's up there. João Neves to Zaire Emery. Yeah, good shout. I like it. Morata or Griezmann? I'd go for Griezmann. I'd go for Morata. I've covered this before. Griezmann could be playing in midfield. Try not to spam the chat, please. Otherwise, you'll be put on timeout. Hi, Dylan. I just lost the question for some reason. Will Ake start? I don't think so. Diaz start? I believe so. Kane or Lewandowski for captain? Yeah, the way it works is just captain Lewandowski now and then captain Kane tomorrow. That's the way it goes. If you're not happy with Lewandowski's points today, switch it. Thank you, Diaz. Are you on a wild card? Yes. Worth selling Koundé for a -4? Yes, but spamming. I really shouldn't have answered that. -4 por Gordon o Galeno. Y Galeno, porque él está lesionado. Y con Gordon puede venir del banco y hacer algo. Así que sí, Galeno es el que tienes que vender. Gordon's replacement, 9.7 million. I mean, Saka you could go to even, but I'd probably say Sane or Musiala would be the best ones. -4 for Alvarez or Morata. Alvarez for me. Both are fine. Thoughts on Alonso? I mean, not a huge fan, to be honest. Saka or Jude out for Sane. Well, Bellingham, because he's a bigger doubt to start. Mbappe in, without money. The thing is with Mbappe, though, he's been quite poor. You know, only 6 pointers, really. I think there is a big return coming, but I think Vinicius, Kane, Alvarez, and a few other forwards are more enticing right now. I prefer Sane. So Sane first, Musiala second, Coman third. But they're all good, of course. Diaz starts today, I think so. Will Haaland play? I think he'll be benched. Vinicius or Kane for day 2 captain. I would go for Harry Kane. What about Osimhen? He had an injury problem. I think he's just coming back. I need to double check that. But yeah, are there prizes for the UCL Fantasy League? Is that? Are the prizes of UCL Fantasy legit? I mean, they should be. Why would they lie about it? But yeah, you've got to wait a long time to win those awards. Kvaratskhelia, Musiala or Coman? I would go for Musiala. The only issue with that is matchdays 5 and 6 if Bayern Munich end up rotating. Best midfielder for 5.5 million. Zaire Emery is my favourite. Mendes, Çalhanoğlu, Doku or Saka. If he starts, Doku's my favourite. But he's not all of a sudden amazing because of his haul against Bournemouth. Let's put it into perspective. Of course, Young Boys is a great fixture. The most consistent players from those will obviously be Saka. You also look at Mendes and Çalhanoğlu, who will do really well. But yeah, for this match day, I'd say Doku. Morata or Griezmann, we've covered already. I'd go for Morata. Griezmann could play in midfield today, as we've covered already. So I'm now going to pretty much sort out my team. So let's end this poll. 59% of you have gone for Sommer, and we've got a lot of votes in there. So that's quite conclusive. In second place was Kepa, and third was Ramiro, who is also a mega differential. I talked about him before the season even began. A 4 million starting goalkeeper who's got 2 clean sheets out of 3 so far this season in the Champions League. So let's put another one. Would you sell Bellingham on this wildcard? Let's put that one. Just a simple yes or no question. Would you sell Bellingham on this wildcard? And if so, if you would sell him, who would you sell him to? I've got 1.7 million in the bank. I could go to Musiala. And I'm even 0.1 million off from Saka, which is a bit of a shame, to be fair. I'd still go for him and have that Arsenal coverage in there, but it would mean downgrading another position and also having Ramiro instead of Jan Sommer. Foden or Kvaratskhelia? Foden. I still like Kvaratskhelia, though, of course, but thinking about future match days as well, maybe Foden. 3 forwards for Limitless. Check out the video. It's all there. Vinicius Jr., Alvarez and Kane would be my top 3. Start Ramiro or Sommer? That's the thing. If you've got both of them, it's kind of counterproductive because they both play on the same day. But I'd say probably Sommer. Morata or Vinicius? Vinicius. And look at that. That is one of the most 50-50 polls you're ever going to get. 51% are saying yes, but yeah, a lot of people still think that Bellingham will start in matchday 4. Is that Bakayoko for Olmo, or do you mean Bukayo Saka? If it's Bukayo Saka, then yeah, I'd go for him. Will Bellingham and Haaland start? I think Bellingham will, but I'm not convinced. As for Haaland, I think he'll be benched. I painstakingly sold him, so hoping he doesn't start. Yeah, I know. I'd be in the same boat if I end up selling him too. Foden or Brais Mendes? Maybe just Mendes for the consistency. I'd go for him. Simmons, Doku or Thuram? Doku. Best forward for this round? Harry Kane. Apart from him, probably Vinicius. 154 points overall. Is it good? Yes. I mean, you might be new to the game as well. That's completely fair enough. I've had a bad start myself, but I did make up for it matchday 3. That's what's kind of got me back on track too. Barella and Nathan Ake starting. Wow. What are the chances in your opinion? Oh, okay, you're asking me. I don't think Ake starts. As for Barella, Inter Milan are expected to make 5 key changes at the very least, so I'm not too optimistic there. Simmons or Çalhanoğlu for Galeno? I'd go for Çalhanoğlu. Captain Alvarez or Doku? Alvarez. Alvarez or Lewandowski for captain? I'd go for Alvarez. Brais Mendes or Xavi Simons? Brais Mendes. Same question. Sane or Musiala? Sane. Morata, Vinicius Jr. If money is no issue, if money is no issue, I'd go for Vinicius. Is Rodri good to pick? Yes. Would you guys sell Saka, João Felix, and Galeno for Doku, Thuram, and Vinicius? No. I don't like Saka to Thuram / Doku. Thuram is not even guaranteed to start, to be honest. Raum or Molina? Raum. Cancelo or Di Lorenzo? Cancelo, because he's got better fixtures afterwards as well. Doku or Gundogan? Doku. Captain for the 8th, Harry Kane. Best 4-point family in defender after Rico Lewis, David Raum. Foden or Doku? Foden. Sorry, Doku. Jesus Christ, my mind's going blank. Rota says Jude is likely to feature against Braga. Yeah, but feature could mean coming off the bench. I appreciate that update, but yeah, that just could be a bench appearance, which isn't ideal. But then again, going without Bellingham is always risky. Raum y Brahim Mendes out. Is that Molina, Di Lorenzo, or Lewis, Emery, Stengs? I wouldn't sell Mendes if that's what you're on about. Raum out? No, I wouldn't sell him either. I don't think you need to. Mbappe or Alvarez captain? Well, Mbappe is a differential captain. I don't mind that, but I think Alvarez against young boys. The only obstacle is Pep and rotation. Yeah, Joe, we've answered that Foden Doku question. McTominay or Rice? Well, McTominay has more attacking threat, in my opinion, but yeah, I'd say McTominay. It's not completely settled in, and I would definitely recommend to anyone, don't copy, player for player, otherwise you're in trouble probably. But yeah, this is my wildcard team. I might make some more changes. I'm 0.1 million off from affording this, so yeah, I've got to find some compromises basically. So yeah, look at that. I mean, so many of you are absolutely split on the Bellingham situation. Would you sell Bellingham on the wildcard? It's a tricky one this week. It really is. I might just keep him. And if he doesn't play, so be it. But yeah, I would like to see any conclusive updates. I know someone just mentioned that he's likely to feature, but that could mean a bench appearance. So I'm checking Twitter right now. He was also in the UEFA predicted lineup. But yeah, I want to see if he's in the squad. Well, he's in the squad, but I want to see if he's going to start. And I don't think we're going to get any, leaks at the moment, unfortunately. So yeah, that is a shame. Yeah, no, we're not getting anything at the moment. I'm still scouring for the internet, seeing if I can find anything. Let's see. I'm also checking other updates as well for other. Yeah, so I've got one predicted lineup for Atletico Madrid. It's Oblak, Molina, Savic, Witsel, Hermoso, Riquelme, Barrios, Koke, Griezmann in the midfield, Correa and Morata up front. So that could be the Atletico Madrid lineup against Celtic later. But yeah, I'm trying to find more updates on UCL Fantasy and I can't find it, unfortunately. So we'll get back to your questions very soon. And yeah, we've got no Real Sociedad presser to provide updates on Barrenechea, a 4-point family midfielder who looks like he is in doubt for matchday 4. We've covered the lineups already, so João Felix is benched, Koundé's benched, but Cancelo and Lewandowski start. Gundogan's another one who's quite popular. He also starts in today's game. And also for Newcastle, the big news there is that Gordon is benched, but apart from that, most of the key assets start, the ones that are available. But yeah, I can't find anything whatsoever. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We might not get too much more from now until the deadline, which is in 25 minutes, roughly 26 minutes. So time to finish this team once and for all, I'd say. But I'm really torn on Bellingham. I'm quite settled to sell Haaland, dare I say. But Bellingham is a really tricky one because I'm 50-50 on it as well. And he could end up starting, and who knows. 51% of you now have said no, don't sell Bellingham on the wildcard. That's quite interesting. And this could be my final team, but I do have 1.7 million left in the bank. I could go for Musiala over Calhanoglu, but also too many triple ups there for my liking. And also Bayern Munich could settle qualification with a win tomorrow. So let's see what else we have. Yeah, thank you, Lavanya. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I know it's impossible for me to get through every single question, but yeah, just try to be patient and we'll go for as many as possible. Is Garcia likely to play? No, I don't think so. Carval should be locked in. Yeah, I think what the predicted lineup for Real Madrid is Carvajal and Nacho as the fullbacks. I don't think Fran Garcia will play personally. Thoughts on Grealish? Not a big fan of him UCL fantasy-wise. He might have the odd game where he gets a return, but not for me. I'd rather go for Doku or Foden. Yeah, I think Carvalho starts. Rico Lewis, apparently he starts, and he's been kind of a mainstay in the Champions League team. So, yeah, according to a reliable source, who tends to get it right with Man City, apparently he starts. Best 8 million midfielder? Well, Bellingham is obviously the easy answer normally, but this time round, I'd probably point you towards Doku, Kalinoglu, and Brais Mendes. They're my favourites, and they're all in my team. Cancelo, captain. Not a bad shout. No, I don't mind that at all. Is Livramento playing as a forward? Thoughts? If anything, I think Lewis Hall. I mean, based on how they framed the lineup, it might appear to be so, but I would think Lewis Hall is a bit more advanced. So let's double check that. Let's see what the official lineups say. So they've currently got Livramento as a right winger. That's an interesting one indeed. Yeah, I don't know why they keep playing these random videos instantly, but yeah. It could be. That could be a great shout, and also something to monitor in UCL. Not, sorry, in UCL, in FPL, with Dan Burn out for a couple of months. So, let's go back to this. We need to... Okay, I've got the wrong screen. Apologies for that. We've got this team to sort out once and for all. I'm very, 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 very conflicted on Bellingham, but I think we all are at this point. Haribo says, should I get rid of Haaland and Thuram benched, or Haaland and Terzic injured? Well, Thuram isn't a definite benching, so I'd rather sell Terzic there. That's the way I'd go about it. And look, there were some predicted lineups where Thuram starts alongside Alexis Sanchez, and it will be Martinez on the bench. So I'd rather sell Terzic. Thank you for the super chat, mate. Luke apparently got the Rico Lewis leak from a fan forum. Yeah. Yeah, it could be the City Blue Moon. I think it's the one. I also use it sometimes to check the predicted lineups and stuff. So yeah, thank you for that update. So maybe it's not conclusive, who knows? Maybe that person who posted it on the forum has inside information, but let's wait and see. I'm checking the Blue Moon forum as well right now, seeing if there's anything. Let me check the last page and see if there's any updates here. Yeah, oh God, it's not even letting me go to the page. Willock winger, potentially. I'm still not too interested, to be honest. Why is no one talking about Kvaratskhelia? I talked about him in my Limitless video. He was there. If you want, go for him. But my reason why I'm not going to go for him, I think, is because in Matchday 5, he faces Real Madrid. I've already got Di Lorenzo, and I also have a few other potential issues in the future. So that's why I'm not going there. But of course, for Matchday 4 specifically, I really like Kvaratskhelia. I really do. Yeah, I just saw someone say Rico starts in the forum. I just found the message where they got it from. It's from a guy called Blue Moon Risen. And also, he did the press conference. You know, that's tends to give you an inclination or an insight into who's going to start. And also, Nacho was the one for Real Madrid, so you would expect him to start too. Potentially even. I'm very conflicted on it. Because, look, he could come off the bench. I think he will be in the squad no matter what and feature. But my dilemma is not knowing if he starts or not. And if he starts, of course, I'm happy to keep him in. -8 Haaland, Felix, Galeno, Dumfries to Vinicius, Alvarez, Musiala, and Lewis. Yeah, I like that a lot, mate. I'd go for it. I really would. You could also consider Raum instead of Lewis, but that looks good. Yeah, best Limitless team. I mean, the only changes I'd make is Haaland and Bellingham, potentially. So... yeah, you can go for Musiala instead of Bellingham, and instead of Haaland, you can go for Alvarez. So very simple stuff. The rest is quite similar. Why Ramiro, not Sommer? It's not locked in. It's not locked in. I would ideally go for Sommer, but then again, you would argue that Ramiro's fixtures are slightly better, and there's also the price difference. Dylan, do you think Ruben Diaz starts? Yeah, I do. Not a guarantee, but I think he does. Do you think Doku will start? Yes. I think he does start in the next few match days. If I had to guess, probably 2 out of 3 starts coming up. Awesome Rousers as defenders, Munoz as a budget option. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Sociedad defenders have been very impressive as well. I haven't talked about them enough, so that's a really good shout. I like it. If you're not going for Ramiro, I think that's a good shout. Dylan, best mids this week. Saka, Kvaratskhelia, Musiala, Sane, Bellingham if he starts, Doku, Foden. Those are right up there. How about Fabian Schär? He's really good for ball recoveries. Not a bad shout at all. Mohammed, we have answered that Cancelo question. Ake or Rica Lewis? Rica Lewis. Edison or Ortega? Edison. You'd start Vinicius on the wild card? Yeah. If money was not really an issue for me, I mean, look, I've got decent budget, but it's also the structure that I'm kind of going for. But, you know, if I could afford it, I'd go for Vinicius over Morata, yeah. Koeman or Gundogan? I'd actually say Koeman, yeah. -4, Haaland, Felix Galeno out for Alvarez, Vinicius Mendes, yep. No problems with that whatsoever. Of course, the Haaland one can backfire, but we all know that, so it's worth the risk, I think. Kvaratskhelia or Saka? Saka. Keep Ake and Bellingham or sell? I think I'd sell Ake based on my own, you know, prediction, but it's a tricky one to really get right. No confirmed news apart from he trained yesterday. That doesn't mean he's going to start though. Sane or Musiala? I'd go for Sane. So yeah, we kind of getting the same questions as before. I'd go for Doku as well. Not a bad shout. I mean, I do like having an Evanilson or even Taremi. I wouldn't captain them myself, but they are good shouts, and you can always change the captaincy tomorrow. So yeah. Thoughts on Trossard? I think he could play false 9, so he could be a great option in Matchday 4. So I'm not against that. I actually prefer Taremi right now because Griezmann could play midfield. Trippier or Livramento on a wild card? I think I'd risk a Livramento based on the price. Yeah. -4, is it worth getting Di Lorenzo in for Dumfries? Yeah, I think so. The only issue with that is that in Matchday 5 he plays Real Madrid. Calhanoglu or Mendes? Probably Mendes, but it's really close. They're both great options. Pick 2 on Limitless. It would be Doku and Kvaratskhelia. Felix is playing. He's benched. Morata captain. Not a bad shout. Like I said for today, it's between Alvarez, maybe a Porto attacker, and Morata as my favourites. Even Doku is in the conversation. Alvarez or Morata's captain, I'd go for Alvarez. Bryce for Trossard. Not sure I'd sell Trossard now because with Nketiah potentially out, Jesus injured. Yeah. Thank you, Punjabi. Let's actually have a quick look there. And then we're going to go back to my team and sort it out once and for all. So we've got almost 1,000 viewers. That's absolutely insane. Let's try to get this stream to over 400 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. We are very close to that goal. And we're also making strides towards 22,000 subscribers. We've gotten around 150 subscribers in this stream alone, which is absolutely insane. And people are still watching the team selection, wildcard, and limitless videos. So thank you very much. So yeah, let's get to my team because I need to sort it out before I forget. And I don't want to panic and make some last-minute decisions which I regret. So I think I'm going to go for Jan Sommer still, although Ramiro could still come in, of course. The back 5 is relatively good. I'm quite happy with that. The midfield is the big problem. I think I can live with selling Bellingham, but it's still something that's nagging in the back of my head, and it's just that kind of doubt about whether he starts or not. And maybe I should just not overcomplicate it, but it could be an issue in future weeks if I try to bring Bellingham and Haaland back in, if that is still going to be the case. So if I end up going with this structure with Morata up front, I've got 9 million to spend on a midfielder. I can go for Musiala, or I can even go for Saka or Kvaratskhelia, but that would mean making downgrades elsewhere. So let's actually see. You know what? I'm going to end this poll. Thank you very much for those that voted. 52% of you said don't sell Bellingham on the wildcard. It's a very close call. I'm going to put one final poll, and then afterwards I would encourage you to let me know your ideas in terms of captaincy maybe and stuff like that you want answered. But I'm going to say, which of these players would you bring in? Let's do that quickly. So yeah, Musiala, Saka, Travadona we'll call him, just to simplify it. And any other midfielder we can bring into this equation. Koeman's one. Trying to think here. Gundogan, not bad, but no, I'm probably going to look elsewhere. Yeah, I think... Or if not, I could go for a cheaper midfielder and then go for Vinicius up front. So let's actually try that as well. But it would mean a very cheap midfielder. So yeah, 5.6, and then I can go for Gordon. No, not sorry, Gordon. Zaire Emery. So I could do something like that as well. So yeah, I'm going to make this quick poll. Let me know what you think. And yeah, we're going to keep on going through your questions as always. We've got 50 minutes left to lock in this wildcard team. It could be a make or break in this season's UCL Fantasy. Baranechea could be injured. I just saw a message there by Garav. I saw an update where he is an injury doubt, but you're not going to get any conclusive updates before the deadline, unfortunately. So Vinicius is actually leading the poll. So wow, I'm not sure if you lot are aware, but having Vinicius does mean Zaire Emery or a really cheap midfielder. But if you think that's the way to go, then let me know. And that could be the play. I could even go for Stengs. Actually, no, I can't. I can't. Let me calm down. Unless I do maybe Summer down to Ramiro, or I make another downgrade elsewhere. But yeah, maybe Zaire Emery could be the play. He's been very good so far in this season's Champions League. He's in great domestic form too. Scored at the weekend in a 3-0 win. So yeah, this could be my final team as well. No Saka, no Musiala, which isn't ideal. But there you go. You can't cover everyone. You really can't. Dumfries is a doubt. I'm not sure about an absolute huge doubt, but he suffered fatigue in training. So it's definitely one to monitor. And I sold him on the wild card. So 43% of you have gone for Vinicius Jr. Saka is second with 26%. Did it really say musical? Oh my god, I gotta do it again. What is it with these stupid autocorrects? Botman, Batman, and now Musiala and musical. Okay, anyway, hopefully you got to understand who that is. But yeah, I think it's quite obvious that Vinicius Jr. is the winner. Yeah, it's Musiala. I'm gonna have to do that again, I can't lie. That's a bit annoying, but yeah, there you go. I'm going to end that poll very prematurely. Apologies for that. I can do that again very quickly. But I think the results will be the same anyway. Jamal Musical. It's a great name, isn't it? It really is. So which player would you buy? Oh, yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put which duo would you buy? I should have enough characters for this. So Morata plus Saka. Morata plus Cravadonna. I'm going to put Morata plus Musiala. And the last one will be Vinicius and Zaire Emery. So let's see, that'll be even better actually. So let's actually double check. It did it again. It put musical. Why are you Safari, man? Anyway, yeah, that should be good now. It should be good. There's no musical. I had to change it again. So Colomwanian says without malice, fair enough. I do prefer Zaire Emery and Mbappe, but not a bad shout. Rodrigo or Zaire Emery? I'd say Zaire Emery. Just a bit more exciting. But, of course, from now until the end of the campaign, Rodri will get more points. But for this match day, and until the rest of the group stages, I'd put my hat on Zaire Emery. Rafinha or Torres? Torres. Akanji starts? I think he will. I don't have any inside information. Dylan, in our training today, there were 2 sets of them spotted and Jude wasn't in none of them. Oh yeah, that's another good point. I forgot to mention that. That is a good point, Nuclear Atoms. Yeah, there were 2 teams training for Real Madrid and Bellingham was in neither team. So he's not expected to start based on that information and also all the updates that are coming about. Also, there was that reliable journalist who said, yeah, he made that update about Bellingham not playing against Braga and he will start against Valencia at the weekend. So yeah, that's a really good shout. Kimmich out, Musiala, Sane in. Yes, and I'd go for Sane. But both are fine. Honestly, you can go for either. Take your poison, take your pick. They're absolutely fine. Is Haaland a sell? I think so, but if he starts, of course, you're probably going to be hiding behind your sofa. Doku or Brais Mendes? Doku. Most essential player this week? I don't think there's really an essential player, but I'd say Harry Kane is up there. Captain Alvarez or Morata? Alvarez is my preference. You can see on screen too. Musiala and Lewis or Kalinoglu and Molina? Great question. I'd go for Musiala and Lewis, but both are absolutely fine. Gordon and Felix not starting. Take them out for a -4 and a -8. And if so, for who? I'd probably take them out for a -8 and I'd do Gordon to, let's say, Doku and Joao Felix to Alvarez if you can afford that. And if you can't have both because you already have 20 C players, you can also consider Santiago Jimenez from Feyenoord. I'm not so sure, Nuclear. I mean, I think in that sort of situation, if it was me, I'd probably hold. But yeah, it's a tricky one. If you're selling Bellingham to Musiala or Sane, that is probably worth the punt. But apart from a select few midfielders, I'd probably keep Bellingham in that scenario. Gundogan for Bellingham for a -4. Once again, a bit difficult. I'm not sure I would. It's a difficult one. It's literally down to fine margins, probably down to an element of 2-3 points. It could be in the end. I meant Galeno and Burnout, Lewis, Molina, or Di Lorenzo for Burn. Yeah, fair enough. Out of those defenders, my preference would be Di Lorenzo. If you're also thinking about match days 5 and 6, though, and taking it as a whole, then the best option is actually probably Lewis. As for the other questions, Stengs, Emery, or Kalinoglu, I'd go for Kalinoglu. I really would. And by the way, look at that. Vinicius is leading the poll again, and the closest one to it is Morata and Musiala, and Morata Saka is third. So as you can see, that musical spelling, spell check, that actually influenced the last result. It's very close now. Vinicius and Zaire Emery is winning. That's quite interesting. I'm not going to lie to you. Quite interesting. But I think, contrary to the poll, I think I'm going to change things a little bit. I think I will. So yeah, I might be really risky here, and it's kind of going all out, and I might go for this Musiala and Morata duo, and it also gives me 0.5 million left in the bank. Now, in order to get Bellingham back, I could easily switch Musiala to Bellingham next week. That's not an issue. But then to get Haaland back, if he still plays Champions League games to wrap up the group stages, then it would require possibly a -4 hit. So this team could mean going without Haaland until matchday 7, the knockout stages basically. So very interesting course to make. I might go for this setup. I'm not going to lie to you. Let me know what you think in the live chat. We have gone for a lot of questions as well. But yeah, as you can see, I'm 50-50 on Bellingham. I think Haaland will be benched, and we'll see what happens there. Haaland and Dumfries out for Vinicius and Cancelo. Yes, I like that, Dave. Cancelo's not my favourite defender this week, but he's still up there. Which team's player should I avoid when thinking of the last game week? Well, that's where you'd maybe want to avoid triple-ups in Man City, Bayern Munich, and Barcelona, to name 3 examples. Jimenez captain, yeah, good shout. Same with Cancelo, as you said earlier. But my preference is Alvarez. I think Foden would start. Yeah, that's a good shout too. Vinicius or Lewandowski? Vinicius. In terms of captaining, Captain Lewandowski today and then Vinicius tomorrow. But if you're asking who should I buy, I'd go for Vinicius. Molina or Hakimi? Molina. Sane or Musiala? Sane. A lot of these questions we have covered multiple times, by the way, so try not to spam the chat. FPL Tony, posted eyes emoji, leaked lineup, news is coming. Yeah, but is it going to come before the deadline? That's my question. And is he reliable? Let me know. Hopefully he is, and he can give us something very soon. But let's see. We've literally got 7 minutes left. Be sure to lock in your teams as soon as possible. Doku or Rodri I'm getting. Doku for me this week. Is Mbappe a good choice? Of course he is. But is he worth the money? Oh yeah, he probably still is. But is he one of the best forwards in the game, considering fixtures and what he's done this season in the Champions League? Probably not. I think there are better options. 7 minutes to lock in, yeah. Taremi or Evanilson? Taremi. Foden, good option. I think he starts. I'd go for Musiala there. Limitless, Vinicius or Morata? Vinicius. It's covered in the video as well. 5.3 million defender. I'd say Rico Lewis, David Raum are up there. They're 2 of my favourites, so yeah. Those 2. Griezmann or Morata? I'm going for Morata over Griezmann because Griezmann could be playing in midfield, according to some reliable sources. Simmons or Doku? Doku. Best midfield in Porto? Well, Galeno is injured now, of course. I'd be tempted by Eustachiao. I think he's a midfielder. Forwards, I think Taremi and Evanilson are good. But yeah, my favourite Porto attacker now would be Taremi. Oof, yeah, Godson. I wish I could answer that myself. I'm leaning towards selling him, but I'm just so in 2 minds about it, to be honest. So yeah, let the chat decide. Xavi Simons or Emery? Xavi Simons. Score predictions we'll go through very soon. But trust me, we will. Doku or Mendes? Doku. This week, yeah, I go for Doku. Thank you very much, Jorge. I appreciate it. Regards from Portugal. Big up. Thank you very much. I obviously know a few people from Portugal. There's a lot in London, trust me. But thank you very much, mate. Doku or Bryce Mendes. Yeah, we've covered. Morata over Ferran Torres and -4. I wouldn't sell Ferran Torres to Morata for a -4, to be honest. No. I wouldn't do that. So I think my final team is going to be Ter Stegen and Sommer as my goalkeepers. My 5 defenders, Cancelo, Rico Lewis, Molina, David Raum and Di Lorenzo. My 5 midfielders could be Musiala, Sane, Doku, Calhanoglu and Brais Mendes. And the front 3 could be Morata, Alvarez and Harry Kane. If we also check the dates, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players on the 7th today. And I've got the remaining 7 players playing tomorrow on the Wednesday. I'm a bit in two minds about this Musiala situation. If I knew Bellingham was available and starting, I'd probably have Bellingham over Musiala and just leave it at that. But that is also my big conundrum. So, you know what? I'm going to end this poll, and it's just going to be one final question. And then we are going to, yeah, just wrap up. Am I using the Limitless? No, I'm using the Wildcard. So, which player would you go for? So, just last question. Keep it simple. Musiala. Don't do me. It's done musical again. It has, honestly. Musiala. Bellingham. We'll put Saka in there as well. And any other midfielders? Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it in terms of midfielders I'd really target. Cravadonna could be another one, but that would require downgrades elsewhere. So yeah, I think that is pretty much it. Yeah, let's put Cravadonna as well. So last poll, I promise. And we still have over 900 people watching. Be sure to smash the like button and let's get this to over 400. It'd be massively appreciated and it costs nothing. And we have gone through hundreds of questions today, and we always do in every single live stream. If we actually look at the results already, Musiala is leading the pack despite the triple up in Bayern Munich, which could spell trouble in match days 5 and 6. 41% of you going for Musiala. That's interesting. It's going up, but fair enough. Bellingham is second, Saka third, Kvaratskhelia is fourth. So, oh, that's quite interesting. Yeah, I like Taremi. I just mentioned him before. He's my favourite Porto attacker now, and he's a good option this week. Dylan, just go for Vinicius and Emery. Easy returns. Fair enough, but it is Morata Musiala as well. It's quite a difficult choice, I think. It's almost 50-50. If you have Bellingham, would you start or bench him? Well, I'd bench him anyway because he plays tomorrow. And then, you know, if I have a good feeling he's going to start, then I just bring him in for one of my lowest scoring players on the Tuesday. So it doesn't really matter whether you start or bench him, to be honest. Haaland starts, says Jake. There's always supposed to be a... Wait, okay, what is this source? Why do we have to get some stupid breakout news now? I was just about selling in my wildcard, you bloody bastard. Yeah, where do you get this from? Let me know. If you've got a link in the live chat, then Foden starts, Haaland starts, FPL Tony. I typed that in and I didn't see it. It's reliable. But is it Tony Fantasy Football? Is it him? Is he maybe doing like a thing? Okay, well, you lot are saying it. It's... Oh, God. So, what about Alvarez? Is he starting? Rico Lewis? Oh, dear. Yes. Doku, Alvarez, Simmons, or Lewandowski for captain. I'd go for Alvarez, but if we get some information now... Jake says yes. Okay. All right, let's bring Haaland back in then. Jesus fucking Christ. It's just never simple, is it? It's never simple. My lord, my lord. You would think he's not going to be risked. And now we've literally got 1 minute to lock in this team. Thank you, Pep. Thank you so much. I honestly love you. Twat. Okay, Emery. Let's put Zaire Emery in there now. Oh my god, really? Last minute wildcard panic. It's literally what I wanted to avoid. I was so calm and composed. Foot mob Alvarez bench. What about Doku? What about Doku? Do you see anything on Doku? Yeah, so Foden starts as well. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Oh my god, I need to look in my team now. Oh my god, this is honestly this is a joke. It honestly is a joke. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm literally now just doing some random transfers off the top of my head. Thank you, Pep Guardiola. You bloody bastard. 5.4 million defender. Yeah, this is not looking good. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to have to do this very, very quickly. I might just have to click the first defender I see. So, you know what? I might just go for Romero and then go for a Saliba. Oh my lord, I literally got 10 seconds. This is an absolute joke. Oh my lord, this is not looking good, man. This is not looking good. Okay, at least I looked in my team, I think, and I captained Haaland, and I brought in Phil Foden. If this leaked is bullshit, it literally is going to ruin my season. It really is going to. It's literally make or break now. So I made multiple changes just now. I can't even break it fully. So that's it. We're locked in. And yeah, you lot say he's reliable. I took your word for it. So hopefully you are right. The leak is bullshit, says Willem. Yeah, I know. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, look, who knows at this point? I mean, you lot said he's reliable. So that's literally the only reason I did it. Oh my God. Who is this FPL Tony guy? I actually want to know. Maybe I had too much trust in the chat. Who knows? Let's put a poll out. I was literally so locked into my team, non-Haaland, and I decided to make multiple changes. So, yeah, at least all of my players are kind of ordered in the right way. I've got the right captaincy if Haaland does start. If he doesn't, then, yeah, it's not looking good. You know what will really piss me off? If Alvarez starts, Haaland's benched, then we've also got Doku starting and Foden benched. That will really piss me off. I'm not going to lie. That would be a deal breaker. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I mean, I like UCL Fantasy, but one of the things I would like World Cup Fantasy, is being able to make transfers, you know, during the match day. But there you go. So you lot now are kind of saying, you're kind of in two minds about it. I don't know. It's fake. Why is everyone saying, wait, Nucleum says okay, yeah, I don't know. People are saying, you know, they're in two minds. What you said is what will happen. Yeah, probably. It would be absolutely FPL Tony coming in clutch. If Haaland starts, then yeah, FPL Tony, huge shout out to you. But yeah, honestly, I don't know what to make of it. There's so much to unpack here. Literally, we have to wait until like 6, 7 p.m. I'm gonna go off soon because yeah, I'm gonna go watch the games, celebrate a mate's birthday. But wow, yeah, I just saw it now. Now the account pops up. So the most relevant and asked players, Haaland and Foden start. Oh my lord. Yeah, I mean, let's see, lads, let's see. I'm speechless because I don't know what to make of it. Like, literally, we got the news at 5:42, 5:41 p.m. And then literally, I just made some quick transfers. I had an idea of the players I want to get in. So there we go. That is pretty much it. It's not ideal. And I also got rid of Sane as well. It's fucking bullshit, to be honest. But there you go. It's over. The madness is over. Let's see how it all turns out tomorrow and today. So yeah, let's get back to your questions. I want to see what you lot think. Yeah, I wouldn't thank anyone yet. Take over a pinch of salt. Last minute Xavi Simons captaincy change. So actually, let me know. Let's put a poll out. So, do you still have Haaland? That's going to be the question I'm going to probably put in the chat. Do you still have Haaland? So yeah, honestly, wow, what a stream. We're literally 3 lakhs away now from 400. We've still got over 500 people watching. Be sure to smash the like button, even if you're on your way out. And yeah, I actually forgot about the predictions, but I already briefly discussed them earlier. I went for 2-0 Barcelona and 1-1 Newcastle Borussia Dortmund. So yeah, afterwards I'll kind of adjust the other stuff accordingly. I mean, you know what, even add more insult to injury? If Bellingham starts as well, oh my God. Honestly, this week is such a weird one. UCL Fantasy has been really strange this season. I mean, you look at Matchday 2 with the injuries like Lewandowski and Saka. You've got all these like low-scoring games and upsets. And not to mention, like, the amount of points has been much lower compared to previous seasons. So it's been an interesting season as well. But was on the kind of verge of a comeback in Matchday 3. I was close to playing the wildcard. In the end, I resisted. I played the wildcard quite early in Matchday 4. I did it just before going on stream, posted it for members and patrons. And then, yeah, literally 4 minutes before the deadline, we get the news or the leak that Haaland starts and Foden. Best stream ever. I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure because I'm usually calm about FPL and UCL Fantasy, but me having to do multiple changes like that, I'm not a big fan of. Apparently he's starting, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I was very, very insistent that he's not going to start today. I thought he'd be benched. And a lot of predicted lineups also have him on the bench. But according to a reliable source, according to the people, yeah, he's starting. Let's see. I mean, every FPL and UCL tipster is retweeting him, so it must be reliable. Yeah, I know. I've seen that. Hopefully he's right. If he is, big shout out to FPL Tony. If he's not, I'm not saying don't throw abuse his way. but there's going to be a lot of angry customers, let's put it in that way. But yeah, I'm actually looking at the replies right now. Someone said, fuck, I just sold him for Morata. It's a shame, though, because I was so happy with my other team. I had Musiala, Sane, Kane, potentially. I had Morata as well. Oh, God almighty, you bastard. I had Alvarez as well. Oh, my God. I literally gave myself another heart attack. Imagine if this was my final team. Oh, my Lord. Okay, the team is fine. You know, thankfully... Wait, what? Oh, my God. Stop looking at the wrong team, you bloody imbecile. What am I doing? Let me close these tabs, all right? Bloody hell. What am I doing? All right, just in case, let me refresh this, make sure it went through. All right. Don't go anywhere. Calma, calma. All right, so wildcard active. So Ter Stegen, Cancelo, yeah, and Ramiro, Di Lorenzo, Calhanoglu, Mendes all play tomorrow, just to make sure. So yeah, that's what you always want to do when you build your team. You want to make sure those playing on the Tuesday are all in your starting 11. I've done that. Zaire Emery, I mean, wow, he's suddenly in my team just to fund Erling Haaland. He better start and score. That's what I'm saying. He better start and score. Foden, I've got a bad history of him, but come on. It's time for you to do some good stuff. He was benched at the weekend. Makes sense for him to start too. And I've got Musiala and a really good team. If Rico Lewis starts as well, that could be looking like a great week. I mean, Saliba, I'll be honest, I don't know why. I just clicked on the first defender I saw. I think I could buy someone at 5.9 million or below. So I've got that Arsenal coverage in there too. He's got ball recovery potential, but yeah, not ideal to be quite honest with you. But the rest of the defense looks very solid. And yeah, it's just a shame I had to sell Sane. Yeah, hopefully FPL Tony is right. So yeah, a lot of people are very conflicted in the chat. Wow, 69% of you don't have Haaland. Wow. I mean, Jake, the team looks good, but if Haaland's not there, it's going to be bad. It really will be. Habla en español, loco. Well, si tengo una pregunta en español, sí, bueno. I swapped my armband from Kane to Haaland. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, honestly, anyway, with Kane, don't captain him now because he plays tomorrow. So what you want to do is captain someone on the Tuesday. That's the way to go about it. If Haaland doesn't play today, you can still captain Kane tomorrow. No Sane, I know. He's one of my favourite players as well. I literally had to just think about it on the spot, find the funds for Haaland. And maybe that was an overreaction, but there you go. And Haaland's ownership is now what? It's 57. It's still high, but it has gone down quite a lot. And I've got no Bellingham too. It's just this match day is an absolute mess, honestly, because my original plan was to keep Bellingham, sell Haaland. Then I was going to sell both, and then now I bought Haaland back in. I mean, what can we say, honestly? Seems foolish to risk Haaland against young boys. Yeah, no, I also think he was going to be benched. I thought that, but if this leak is reliable, I kept on refreshing his account and immediately in a panic transferred out Bellingham for Emery for the hit. I feel perplexed. Yeah. No, that's why I don't like late news. I would have rather it came out with a bit more anticipation. Honestly, you know, he probably got the news late on. But I'm just saying, I don't like that. How do you know Spanish? My parents are from a Spanish-speaking country. I've got double nationality. FPL Trolley. Yeah, Nah, come on. Surely not. Surely he didn't do that. I have Doku. I had him as well. But just because I didn't get confirmation of him starting, I went up. So maybe I could have kept Doku and then had Sane instead of Musiala or Calhanoglu. But there you go. You know what? It's the wild card. It's done. It's a good team. It should be anyway. Let's see what happens. Saliba is kind of the one I look at and think, what did he do there? But back-to-back home games, who knows? Maybe it's a decent shout. Ball recovery potential as well. So 68% of you have said no Haaland. Wow. Jesus. That is actually insane. Jesus Christ. Both games are 0-0 so far as well. I'll be heading off very soon to watch the games. Yo me comí el -4 por sacar a Haaland y meter a Álvarez. Y bueno, si empieza Álvarez no es tan malo, pero quién sabe qué va a pasar en esta jornada. Es muy difícil anticipar. Y sí, esa noticia fue muy sorprendente, pero vamos a ver. Other than the last minute spoiler, hope it's accurate. You are a great YouTube streamer. Oh, thank you. You are very patient with the chat, very personable and very helpful and positive plus reliable. It was fun. Thank you, Miguel. Yeah. You know, ideally, you know, this is what I like to do when I stream. I like to set my team up, you know, you can see my team and then I just go through your questions. But especially when you're wildcarding, you know, you've got to think about these things. And when a last bit of news comes out in the end, it's very difficult to then go back to the chat, unfortunately. Yeah, look, to be honest, I don't know. I only went for it because the chat said that he's reliable. That's the only reason why. Hey, Dylan, please make transfers for Game Week 6 now. Oh, no. No, no. I'm forgetting about match day 5 and 6 for now. I'm taking a break, switching off, hopefully getting some points, at least in match day 4. And then afterwards, we can look into what the problems will be later on. I didn't see the last minute news. Switched former Dortmund duo to Kane and Cravadonna. God save me. Well, Kane is good, and Kvaratskhelia is a good option this week. So let's wait and see. Well, Bestie, the thing is, he still might not start, which sounds crazy, but he still might not start. Made 3 transfers in the last 30 seconds simultaneously. Listen to your stream. Yeah, mate, honestly, it's not ideal. I didn't want this. I really like having everything set up. And before the Haaland news broke out, I literally had like 1 or 2 minutes to go, and I found something that I was happy with. It was Morata, Alvarez, Kane up front. I also had Sane, Musiala, and the same midfield. Apart from that, I think Doku instead of Foden. But then that news broke out, and all hell broke loose. So yeah, kind of a weird one. I hope that doesn't happen too many times from now on. But now I'm hoping that he does start. ¿Por qué sacaste a Molina? Necesitaba el dinero para comprar a Haaland y también a Foden. Es la única manera que lo hice. No es ideal. Así que sí, vamos a ver lo que va a pasar. Also, Captain Cancelo today. Lord have mercy. Yeah, I've captained Haaland, so I mean, if he doesn't start, I mean, that's literally a waste of the captaincy. But I do have Kane tomorrow, at least. Hopefully Vinicius does the job for me. Oh, yeah. Vinicius should still do well. Got 8 points in the last game against Braga, so not too bad. I had Alvarez as captain, changed last minute to Doku, Guardiola. To be honest, though, look, even the other day against Bournemouth, and no matter what happens now, I'm not going to change my mind, but the other day against Bournemouth, you know, we all saw it and thought, okay, just the precaution, take him off half-time, and we all expected it to be a short-term thing. But I thought he would come back for Chelsea and be benched today. So if that ends up being the case, then I can only blame myself for trusting the leak and going for it. But yeah, I just kind of went for it just based on the chat's kind of maybe opinions on the source. It was fun. Ended with Alvarez and Doku. Yeah, that was my duo. I also got rid of Molina. So basically, look, on my wildcard in the last minute or two, I got rid of Molina, I got rid of Alvarez, Sane, Doku, and Summer. It could really go the other way. And honestly, I don't know if I want to check the points at the end and compare, you know, how those options did compared to this 5, because I could cry. If I end up gaining points, then, well, then I'll be happy, but I'm not so sure. I was doing okay this season, but team is a mess now. I can't make any subs tomorrow. Yeah, look, and also the news we just got from the last 5 minutes is, well, yeah, it's now 20 minutes ago that happened, but yeah, it was kind of a big surprise. Made Haaland, Bellingham, Galeno to Jimenez, Foden, Fernandes -4. I like that. Not a huge fan of Fernandes, but in a one match day, you know, like he did against Fulham in FPL, he can do well in one match day. I just don't trust him long term. I used my Limitless, Captain Alvarez, took a bath, and now Haaland is starting. Yeah, I know, that's the problem. You know, you can sometimes get these late leaks, but to be honest, Haaland might still be benched. So if that's the case, you're laughing. Who would you bought in? Who would you have bought in out of Alvarez and Morata? Well, to be honest, with Haaland starting, if he does start, I'd rather sell Alvarez and diversify my attack. So I'm still quite happy having Morata. We could just start Morata. Yeah. I've still got him, so let's see what happens. I've still made a lot of changes on the wildcard, so to put into perspective, Morata's new, Musiala, Zaire, Emery, Foden, Saliba, Rico Lewis, also Di Lorenzo, Calhanoglu, Mendes. That's 9 changes on the wildcard. Even Ramiro, that's 10. 10 changes, but I also made 5 moves in the last minute. Can you do a poll on Haaland captain now? To be fair, though, 68% of people watching said they don't have him, so it's not going to be that high, to be honest. Spurs versus Chelsea of deadline streams. Yeah, that's a good way of comparing it. I'm not a big fan of those chaotic games. As a neutral, yeah, great. If you're watching it, great entertainment, but not when you're in the middle of it. I was about to do Haaland to Alvarez 10 minutes before the deadline and then saw the eyes emoji tweeted. Yeah, I'm glad I double-checked. So wait, Nuclear Atoms, I'm not sure if you're still here. Is he that reliable? Because you seem like you're taking it as a fact, so I don't know. Because some people here still think he's like lying about it or that he's got it wrong. Haaland's still with 57% ownership. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? Ended up with Lewandowski and Alvarez. Didn't remove Bellingham. Should have brought in Mbappe on second thoughts. Yeah, but to be fair though, even if Haaland starts, it could be Alvarez alongside him and you could still do really well. This stream was like an FPL last minute rush stream. The only good thing was the server didn't crash. Yeah, thankfully. If it was FPL, it would have crashed for sure. What was the news from 20 minutes ago? So we got a leak at the very end that Haaland is starting and Foden. We didn't get confirmation of Alvarez and other options. So basically, in the last minute on my wildcard, I made 5 changes to my team. Haaland or Morata? Morata. Good luck. Sorry, I'm pretty busy right now. No worries, mate. My mind is busy, and I'm also going to go off very soon because I got to get ready. Haaland is starting. Apparently, I don't know if it's a fact, but according to the viewers here, a lot of people said that he's a reliable source. I just saw the tweet now. Let's hope it's right for those that have Haaland, and let's see how it all goes. I'm not so concerned about the captaincy because I've got good options tomorrow, but I had a really good thing going on my non-Haaland team. And let's wait and see. I think not going for Sane is really, really tough to swallow, to be honest. I got rid of Rodri, Cancelo, Morata for Haaland. May Lord have mercy. Yeah, I also made some big calls, selling Molina, Sane, Doku. Oh, let's wait and see. Ended up with Lewandowski and Alvarez. Then removed Bellingham. Oh yeah, we covered that. I had my bench all set up, but after last-minute changes, full of players playing today that obviously are now locked on the bench. Yeah, honestly, it's just a crazy... I've never seen a UCL Fantasy stream like this, but... yeah, it's all about that last minute leak, basically. And also, we've already had a lot of injury problems heading into this deadline. Captain Morata, no Haaland, by the way. Good luck. I'm hoping for the best with Haaland since I brought him back in like an idiot, but let's wait and see. Cowboys are not only finishing, they're also embarrassing now. Well, at least you won, but yeah, I mean, it took a long while to get those goals in against 9 men, to be honest. Pep never gives clear news about his lineups before. Yeah, no, that is true, but there's still leaks, though. There are still leaks. Look how many times in the last year that Man City's lineups have been leaked by different sources, but I'm not so sure about this source, but I'm trusting the chat. Let's wait and see. Foden with my captain today. Good luck for Remy. With such big percentage of Haaland and Bellingham, I really want for both of them not to start. Yeah, look, I would have been the same as you, but with Haaland now on my team and as my captain, I'm going to have to disagree with you there. Good luck, Ankel. FPL Reaction seems to trust him, and he's one of the most involved UCL Fantasy content creators on Twitter, and FPL Tony does feature FF Scout articles, so he can't be lying. Well, maybe he's not lying, but his information could be wrong, and I'm hoping it isn't. I hope he really is right here. VAR has been a disgrace this season, both United and Arsenal getting robbed. Not just them. Wolves, Brighton, there's many other examples. Liverpool against Spurs, but I think Brighton and Wolves have been really hard done by, but they're not really mentioned as much because... you know, they're not a big 6 club, so to speak. This will happen with Bellingham tomorrow, mark my words. Possibly, but at least there's no transfers to really worry about that. I don't have him anymore. I can always bring him back in quite easily next week, so it is what it is. Zvonimir says, good luck, guys. It's been a fun stream. It has been. I have to admit, though, the last 5 minutes of the deadline were quite poor. I didn't like that at all, but hopefully, Pranav, hopefully it's not an open goal miss where he gets it wrong. I bought Haaland in for a hit. Good luck. I'm not a big fan of Haaland, but he is one of the joint top scoring UCL Fantasy forwards. Thank you, Nuclear Atoms. Cheers to them for the stream, and hopefully Haaland starts for the sake of all of us. Yeah, we need our adrenaline rush to pay off. Oh, yeah. If Haaland starts and then scores and does really well, you've got to thank FPL Tony for that. Wolves got to destroy Spurs this week. Well, Spurs could be without Maddison, although I think they only took him off as a precaution. Also, Van der Ven is out long-term, 2 suspensions, in Romero and Udogi. So it's a good time to play them, to be honest. And they lost their heads against Chelsea. They really shouldn't have done so. They started the game so well. They could have ended up winning it quite comfortably. But that's Spurs sometimes. To Stegen as long-term, yeah, I still think it's a good option until the end. Like and heart on the stream are 2 different things. Why YouTube? Oh yeah, I'm not sure exactly. You know, YouTube keep on changing things every single week, it seems like. I'm a Spurs fan, doesn't look too good, to be honest. Well, you're still second. You never expected that at the beginning of the season. You're playing great football, but I don't know why, with 9 men, you know, why Ange Postecoglou is playing such a high line. That's my gripe with it, because Chelsea struggle against low blocks. Look at them against Brentford. They couldn't score a single goal, and they will do better against the bigger teams like Arsenal, Liverpool and Spurs because they have more space to operate in. But if you're down to 10 and then 9, you've got to be a bit smart and adapt a little bit. Of course, Ange is a good manager. He knows what he's doing, but I just didn't really understand that. Is it safe to have Group F assets? Well, yeah, they've still some great ones. Zaire, Emery, Mbappe, Trippier, Gordon when he starts, but look... Zaire Emery's not ideal for me. I only did it to fund Haaland, to be honest. I'm playing UCL Fantasy pretty casually now. Yeah, that's fair enough. And also, I'm kind of looking at it that way, but UCL Fantasy is where I tend to do best. And also, a lot of people watch the streams and videos compared to FPL. So, yeah, I still want to do well, if possible. Alessandro, okay, look, I'm going to keep it civil here because we've got Spurs fans here. Captain Simmons for Tuesday. It was between him and Stengs. Didn't know about Haaland then. Yeah, and I like Simmons, to be honest, in general. Maybe not for the captaincy today, but you can go for that differential and then switch tomorrow. DC, aren't you a Man City fan? If so, do you think Haaland will start? Because that's what the rumour is, and Foden. So let's wait and see. If Haaland does not play, I won't have any Man City players this week. Ugh. Mate, honestly, I've got Rico Lewis, Foden, and Haaland. If none of them start, I might just take a hiatus, from UCL Fantasy for a long time. FPL deadline is still a better response than this for me. I think the FPL website was worse, but maybe FPL deadlines are more exciting for people. Only had 5.8 million left, so was Emery the best option? I think so, because Gordon was also benched, so it made sense. I went for him. I talked about Emery earlier in the stream briefly, and I think it was the right call as well. Both games are still 0-0, by the way, so let's go ahead and watch those games. I'm now going to head off and watch the rest of the matches later on. Probably AC Milan versus PSG, but let's wait and see what football has in store for us. Let's see if Haaland starts after that late leak we got in the final minutes. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new. We've already got this to over 400 likes, so any more likes would be greatly appreciated, of course. As always, you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the links in the description below for the Patreon, Championships Discord server, and the UCL Fantasy League, the biggest in the world. Let me know in the live chat very quickly. Do you think Haaland starts with a yes or no answer? But yeah, we've still got over 100 people watching. I appreciate that. And of course, UCL Fantasy has been very hectic, especially this season, and Matchday 4 has been one of the craziest weeks I've ever seen. Pranav, let's wait and see. Hopefully he's right. Hopefully. If he starts, then yeah, thank him, even if Haaland blanks. Nucleam says, goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Very simple. Postecoglou thinks Chelsea are not giving them any pressure. But he does play this way against anybody. Maybe you're right. Maybe he underestimated Chelsea. But Pochettino said it before the game. He said that our players love to run in behind and we struggle against low blocks. So it really didn't make sense. Thank you, Pranav. Thank you, DC21. I was going to watch, but cheesed off now. Yeah, I have a feeling Haaland and Doku will be safe for Chelsea game. Well, I got rid of Doku, but brought in Haaland, so let's wait and see. The leak, apparently, says that Foden and Haaland start. There was also another one saying Rico Lewis starts, and they're all in my UCL Fantasy team. Thank you, Nuclear Atoms, Miguel Costa, Twisted Parky, as always. I'll see you in the FPL streams. Thank you, Pranav, again, without malice. I'm really hoping he starts. So yes, a lot of yeses in the chat, but maybe most of the people who sold them have already tuned off because, they don't want to see anything more. Trust and Tony, hopefully. See you again in 4 days. Thank you, Pranav. Yep, there will be a deadline stream for FPL on Saturday, and in the coming days, I'm going to try to get a best wildcard team video out for FPL, the transfer tips for Game Week 12, and the team selection, which is also going to be an absolute mess. I've got 2 free transfers and 4 injury doubts in FPL. Thank you, always saying I'll see you there too. Miguel says, also, if Haaland does start, you may have to do a collab with FPL Tony. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he deserves some credit if he gets that spot on because I wrote it off. I thought Haaland would be benched. If anything, Bellingham was my big concern, and he could still start, of course. But yeah, Haaland's obviously going to divide a lot of opinions here. Let's see if it ends up starting later today. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Discord, and we can talk about it on those social media platforms. Take care, enjoy the football. I wish you all the best of luck with all of your picks, and I'll see you next time.